artificial intelligence actually help us to imbue a program, either a program, a project in form of technology that will help us achieve success, become more efficient in any of our operation, whether in farm, because I noticed there's a kind of an AI instrument that I noticed, I watched in a video where you see that AI is being used in collaboration with technology, solar technology, to scare off animals that normally attack the farm. It will blow bugle, make different sound, even release a gunshot sound, but these are not real gunshots. But when maybe a monkey or that attack maize, that harvest maize and all that came to that very farm, you will censor that very monkey and begin to make those or birds are perching on the crops. So it will sense them and begin to make those sounds, and they will scare them away and they will never come to those farms. It goes the way to show that AI and technology is a hallmark of our development. It's very going to enhance our development. But the only caution is that we need as well to protect the human race, protect the human privacy, protect, while we are implementing the AI and technology in any spheres of life. So if we must grow, we must go with technology, we must go with AI. That's the current thing about it.
Artificial intelligence, it's come to stay, right? Whether you like it or not, it's really helping drive a lot of sectors, technology, medicine, agriculture, and all that. So it's something that has come to stay. And the only reservation that we have about it is that it's going to take a lot of valid jobs from humans, right? And I think that's the only concern. But you wouldn't compare the benefits, right? Because globally, AI drives the economy. It drives virtually everything that we do, and so it's a win. It's a global win.
Yeah, when I was in school, sourcing was not in our own tongue. So we don't have it, anything like AI, we don't have it there. We use books, we go to library, you make research. So then there's nothing like AI. You have negative balance in some individuals. Because sometimes students, especially students, they don't really think again. They just type in whatever they want to get. They just get the answer without stressing their brain. So for me, AI is not good for these recent children.
AI is good. It will make you not to be going around, going to library, searching for, as in looking for research. Immediately you open your phone, you will see everything. So for me, it's okay. I'm in secondary school. Anytime they told you to research for any subject, you'll be going around looking for where to get it. But now you open your phone and everything will be open. So I'm happy. It's good for me.
Actually, I've not used AI before, but according to people that are using it, they say it's good for them, for students. But from my own perspective, I would say AI is making the students to be lazy, because they think that is the easy way of researching questions, some question in internet. But for me, it's making them to be lazy. Instead of them cracking their brain, thinking, making their brain to work, they'll find the easier way, which is the AI, to answer the question for them, which is not good.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I'm Charles Pius. In the headlines, the Minister of State's Petroleum visits fuel stations in Bayelsa, assures of product availability. President of Signature TV gives scholarship to indigent students. Victim of Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash buried in Baku. And world chess champion Carlsen quits championship after being told to change genes. Details shortly.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The president of Signature Television, Martin Obiarilo, has disbursed about 1 million naira as scholarship to some indigenous pupils and students of primary, post-primary, and tertiary institutions in Ado Achi community in Oji River local government area of ENUGU State. The exercise, which took place at his Ado Achi country home, saw 35 students who emerged from a vigorous screening process smile home with various amounts of money.
The scholarship award started in 2003 with only pupils and students from Ado Achi community. The gesture was later extended to the entire Ado and Ehuhe communities that then constituted the Etiti Autonomous Community. The current edition, which is the 24th in the series, saw an undergraduate from the neighboring Omumba community, Gideon Udesike of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, benefiting from the scheme. The initiator and sole sponsor of the program, Vin Martin Obiora Ilo, said he started the program when he was a level 8 officer at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria because of his desire to promote education in the community. He appealed to other well-meaning individuals to initiate similar programs in their various communities as a way of fighting poverty and ignorance in the society.
So two things may have happened. One, that more families are raising people that can help in their individual families, or that the kids are not as enthusiastic as they used to be about going to school. I don't know which one is the problem or the advantage. But like we said last year, we said that gradually we'll start moving this outside our immediate community. So today, we are going to support a student from our neighboring community of ENUGU. I don't know who he is, but I understand he's somewhere in this gathering.
One of the initial beneficiaries of the scheme and graduate of University of Benin, Godswill Chukwemeka, explained how the program assisted him to attain his present position.
By God's grace, my men of primary me from my JSS 1, JSS 2, JSS 3 till my SS 3 and this scholarship, and it has been an impactful thing in my life. Even my member university also. One thing to improve now, the scholarship and every year about just the ego. One of the impacts, first. That thing, it encouraged me, to be very studious. And I want to thank God because I'm my master said my University of Abuja. Or we will people take this scholarship very seriously.
A female beneficiary of the program and 300 level undergraduate, Kenechi Ofo, was full of emotion and demonstrated so visibly.
Difficult in Nigeria, and seeing somebody to support you with a sum of 100K is not easy. That's all my school fees is short. So paying school fees this section is not going to be difficult for me. At least I've reduced the stress for my parents. So it was just massive. I was so emotional and I was so grateful. I just want to say a very big thank you to him. And God should pay him back from wherever he got out the money from. I'm just so grateful.
I really thank Martin Ilo for awarding all this scholarship today. I really appreciate his generosity. for the children of this community. It really helps a lot, especially those that cannot afford the school fees.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for what happened today. Like, God will bless him more and more in Jesus' name.
It's go a very long way for me because we have relieved the stress from my parents, like the school fees. It helped in paying my school fees and getting other things that I was needing in school.
The chairman and the secretary of the Scholarship Award Committee expressed their delight for being appointed to handle the assignment while paying tribute to Vin Martin Ilo for keeping faith with the program over these years.
We sincerely pray that others will emulate him. He is not the richest person in this area, but he continued to do that. He started this work when he was in Radio Nigeria 24 years ago. When things were very difficult, he told me that even if the fight is difficult to feed, but he must squeeze out that money. And you see that the Bible said that givers will never lack. Maybe that's why he's not lacking today.
I've seen it as a thing that will give God glory because of the initiator, Honorable Chief Vin Martin Ilo. In fact, he has been doing a good job in this particular scheme. Many people have benefited, both from the nursery, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Today, he has upgraded the tertiary. In fact, every one of them is doing upgrade in all the things he has been doing to them, especially in the institution. He gave each and every one of them 100,000, 6 of them 600,000, and those in the primary, secondary, and the tertiary institutions.
It was indeed a celebration as the Ilo family home played host to thousands of people who thronged the palatial Adwachi residence to share in not just the happiness of the beneficiaries of the scholarship award, but the joy of the season with both invited and uninvited dance troupes and masquerades putting up exciting displays.
4 Artillery Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Obinze, in Owerri, have neutralized terrorists and recovered 7 weapons in Osina, Idiato North Council area of Imo State. This is contained in the statements issued by the brigade's acting assistant director, Army Public Relations Captain Joseph Akubo, and made available to newsmen in Owerri on Saturday. Akubo said that the terrorists were elements of the proscribed terrorist group of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and its armed affiliates, the Eastern Security Network, ESN. He said that the troops, while returning from routine patrols of Friday, responded to a distress call of IPOB ESN attack on Osina community, where they engaged the terrorists with overwhelming firepower as the dissidents withdrew in disarray. According to him, 2 security agents, not soldiers, were killed in action. He added that an additional 4 AK-47 rifles and 1 Fabrique Nationale rifle and 5 magazines were recovered, making a total of 5 AK-47 and 1 FN rifles and a tear gas launcher were recovered. Akubo also said that further exploitation is ongoing as troops will continue to train the injured terrorists and to trail the injured terrorists and smoke them out of their hideouts and places of treatment. He urged all IPOB, ESN irredentists and other criminal elements hiding in the bushes to surrender to their nearest troops location or meet their Waterloo, as troops of the brigade will continue to ensure that the Imo people celebrate the Yuletide season in peace without fear or intimidation. Akubo, however, appealed to peace-loving Imo residents to continue to support the military by supplying timely intelligence on the hideouts and movements of the terrorists to enable security agencies read the state of all criminalities. The Anambra State Governor, Chukwuma Soludo, says the Onitsha River port is critical to the Nigerian economy and should therefore be made operational. Soludo spoke when the Belgian ambassador to Nigeria, Peter Lietink, visited the Onitsha port.
Governor Soludo, who was represented by the State Commissioner for Transport, Patricia Iwebike, noted that about 60 to 70% of containers with goods entered the southeast by road through Onitsha. He stated that dredging the River Niger, which requires about 20 billion naira, will enable businesses to thrive in the area. He called for technical relationship with the Port of Antwerp in Belgium for the mutual benefits of both Nigeria and Belgium. An official of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, Chris Mbono, explained that the Onitsha River port still has challenges of dredging and regulatory bottlenecks. In his remark, the Belgian ambassador to Nigeria, Lincoln, explained that the visit would enable him explore areas of collaboration with the management of inland waterways. Jude Emecheta, a businessman and politician based in Oka, charged Southeast governors and other stakeholders to extract a commitment from the federal government on how to make the port a reality.
Ambassador will visit, minister will visit, commissioner will visit, we're tired of visiting. Let's see action on that river port. That is the nerve center of our business in Nigeria, in Anambra State, the southeast. They should make the port work for us.
Other stakeholders also enumerated the benefits of a port terminal in Onitsha, the commercial nerve center of eastern Nigeria.
Given the role of port, and particularly the role of Onitsha in southeast, and even south-south, because if you look at the location of Onitsha, it's also connected south-south, the upland part of south-south, Asaba, and the environs, with the whole of Delta North. Now, to my mind, I think it should be a priority for that port to start functioning now. Let it start functioning, even if it's at a lower capacity, but let it start functioning, because we need to have a larger one. Our people are importers, manufacturers, industrialists. We need to have it. It will help us a great deal. If you check how much we lose by transporting goods from Lagos port down to the east, the bad road, the tear and wear in the vehicle, and at the end, the products that they bring into our place, the price doubles because of the cost of transportation. But if it is nearby, we can get it.
The Onitsha River Port was commissioned by former President Shehu Shagari in 1983, but has not been operational since then.
The Minister of State Petroleum Oil, Senator Heineken Lububiri, has visited fuel stations in ENUGU, the capital of Bayelsa State, to monitor the availability of petroleum products. A statement sent online on Saturday noted that Lububiri arrived at the Bayelsa State International Airport, Amasoma, at about 11:30 a.m. and headed straight to the Rain Oil filling station at Etegwe, accompanied by officials of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. He also visited an NNPC affiliate filling stations at Etegwe, Rain, Rano Oil, and Opolo, and NNPC mega filling stations at Bega Junction. In all the fuel stations he visited, the minister requested the pump attendants to dispense fuel to measure the actual volume being sold to Nigerians. The statements further noted that Lububiri said the purpose of his visits to fuel stations in the state was to ascertain the availability of products and to ensure Nigerians are not being cheated. According to him, since the assumption of the office of President Bola Tinubu, Nigerians are no longer experiencing fuel scarcity due to price hikes because of highest demand during the Yuletide. The minister expressed satisfaction with the availability of petroleum products in line with the deregulation policy of Tinubu's administration. On the issue of dispensing the right volume for the full value of payments made by customers, Lububiri demanded that two pumps in two of the filling stations adjust their pumps to dispense the right volume. While promising to come in a few days' time to ensure that the right thing has been done, he cautioned distributors and filling station owners against sharp practices as he urged full weight of the law be used against those involved in alleged cases of not dispensing correct volume to Nigerians and urged Nigerians to be on the lookout for any fuel stations cheating the people. The governors of Rivers and Bayelsa State, Similai Fubara and Duye Diri, have reassured their commitments to fostering peaceful coexistence between the two states following the controversies over the ownership of Soku oil wells and Bayelsa State's landed properties in Port Harcourt, as they both seek stronger Brace Commission for regional cooperation. The commitment was reaffirmed when Governor Diri led a delegation of the Bayelsa State officials on a Christmas visit to Governor Fubara at the Government House, Port Harcourt, today, reciprocating an earlier visit by the River State Governor to ENUGU. You could recall that the east boundaries and landed property issues raised disturbing concerns during the immediate past administration led by Mr. Wike and that of his Bayelsa counterpart Diri. During the meeting, Governor Diri expressed gratitude for Governor Fubara's peaceful disposition in approach to resolving the long-standing issues. He lauded his counterparts for working with him to reach an armistice over the contentious Soku oil wells and the takeover of Bayelsa State properties by the past administration, which had led to a Supreme Court case by his administration.
It will be really out of place if, as the governor of Rivers State today, I don't have that understanding, that friendship, that family relationship with a brother state, which is, let me say, a son that is out of Old River State. The leaders of this state have been issued before the present political dispensation were all from Bayelsa. The records are there. So our story is not complete except we add that side of the Bayelsa. So when His Excellency was saying here that we had understanding, that is the right thing to do. It is the right thing. What are we fighting for? Issues of life is just mere understanding. We're not going to leave this earth with anything, but the legacy we leave is that building of relationship.
We should continue to visit one another so that we should keep our two states safe, peaceful, to allow for development in our two states. Rivers and Bayelsa are one and the same states. Administratively now we have two states. So for us, whatever that we are doing in Bayelsa should be, and how we can also give a helping hand in Rivers, if there is any, and vice versa. And so we are here just for the Christmas season, to pay this Christmas visit to you, and also to let you know that we are there. You are our senior brother now by way of state creation. We should continue to visit one another.
Nigerian ambassador to the Philippines, Dr. Yemi Farumbi, has urged Nigerians to strive to excellence in order to build a better Nigeria. Farumbi said this while speaking as chairman during the 2024 Pace Setters Lecture and Awards Ceremony organized by the Pace Setters Online and Magazine at the NUJ Press Center, Ibadan. He further said that by pursuing excellence, Nigerians can work together to create positive change and foster a brighter future for themselves and generations to come. The event was themed Fostering Sustainable Development Through Collaboration and Partnership, the role of private sector in driving sustainable development in Oyo.
What Nigeria is today is the consequences of the choices we all made. It is not the consequence of the choices the leadership made. We are all vicariously responsible, vicariously liable for the success and the failure of Nigeria. Why do I say so? Because as individual Nigerians, do we pursue excellence? Wherever we find ourselves, even in our homes, in our jobs, in our private capacities, do we look for merit? Do we pursue excellence? If you pursue excellence, then you're going to get national growth, you're going to get national development, you're going to get national achievement, and you're going to get national recognition.
It is easy to blame government at all levels, globally, for these challenges. But the truth be told, we are all contributors to this, and the blame must go round on all of us. The concept of partnership and collaboration involves all of us. Everyone in this room, either you are Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Ishekiri, whether you are in APC, PDP, Labour Party, and other parties, whether you are civil servants, religious leaders, traditional leaders, even young ones, we are supposed to be partners in progress as we build a world where development are sustainable and no one is truly left behind.
As the 10th National Assembly, we can do a little together. We can do so much. Collaboration is the key to achieving our goals for Nigerian roads maintenance. It is only through unity, shared vision, and collective effort that we can truly bring about the revitalization of Nigerian roads that works for the benefits of all Nigerians.
Up ahead, NEMA distributes relief materials to flood victims in Akwa Ibom. Allegations by Niger Republic attempts to incite northerners against Tinubu's presidency. To stay with us. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, on Saturday distributed relief materials to victims of the flood disaster in Akwa Ibom. The intervention is under the federal government's special intervention for 2024 flood in Uyo, Ibesipo, Uruan, Nsitatai, Eastern Obolo, Ikotabasi, and Enin local government areas. In her remarks, the Director General of NEMA, Hajia Zubaida Umar, said the relief materials included 600 bags of rice, 350 cartons of spaghetti, 60 cartons of vegetable oil, 60 cartons of tinned tomatoes, 60 cartons of seasoning cubes, and 30 bags of iodized salt. Umar emphasized that long-term recovery requires collective efforts and that the agency would continue to work with the stakeholders to ensure everyone's safety in the area. Speaking on behalf of the beneficiaries, Godwin F. Young expressed delight over the gesture, saying that the relief materials would help cushion the hardship they are facing. Meanwhile, some officers attached to the Ogun State Police Command have been arrested over allegedly demanding money from a family of a missing girl before taking action on the case. The public relations officer for the Nigerian Police Force, Muyiwa Adejobi, disclosed this in a post on X.com on Saturday. Although he did not reveal the identities of the officers involved, Adejobi stated that they were being held in detention. Adejobi further reaffirmed the command's commitment to locating the missing girl, assuring the public that she would be found soon. A 7-year-old daughter of a point-of-sale operator had allegedly been kidnapped by one of the mother's regular customers in Ogun State. The incident reportedly occurred when the unidentified man visited the shop, bought food for the girl, and later sent her on an errand to buy a sachet of water. However, when the mother went to the police station to report the incident, she was allegedly asked to pay 10,000 naira to file the case, an additional 30,000 naira to track the man's phone number. The Chief of Staff to Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak of Kwara State, Alhaji Mahe Abdurrah Quadri, is dead. He passed away on Saturday at his Adewale residence in Ilorin metropolis, aged 75. Mahe, believed to be a strong hopeful of the emirship throne in Ilorin, and had served in various capacities at both federal and state levels. He was a senior staff at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Ilorin, before joining the State Civil Service, where he served as permanent secretary and clerk of the State House of Assembly before his retirement. Late Mahe attended the last meeting of the 2024 Ilorin Emirate Descendants Progressive Union, IEDPU, held between December 24th and 25th. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has expressed shock over the deaths of retired AIG Bola Longe and retired DIG Moses Jitobo. Longe passed away on Sunday, December 22nd, while Jitobo died in the early hours of Friday, December 27, 2024, after a brief illness. In a statement on Saturday issued by the Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the IG said Longe and Jitobo's contributions to the force and dedication to service can never be forgotten. Ebochukwu said that their death is a great loss, not only to their families, but to the entire Nigerian police force. He also extended his sincere condolences to the families, friends, and colleagues of the deceased. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on policy communications, Daniel Bwala, says claims by the military leader of Niger Republic, Abdurrahmane Tijani, that Nigeria is colluding with France to destabilize the country are despicable propaganda. He declared that the claims were aimed at inciting northern Nigeria against President Bola Tinubu. Bwala said the military leader deliberately chose a local language in the north. Abdurrahmane Tijani, military leader of the Niger Republic, made the claims in an interview on Wednesday. Chiani, who spoke in Hausa, alleged that France is negotiating with terrorists in Nigeria to destabilize his country. According to him, France made a substantial payment to President Bola Tinubu to establish a military base in Nigeria. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, shortly afterwards dismissed the allegations and described them as baseless. Reacting to the allegations in a video posted on his X page on Friday, Bola said the claims are baseless propaganda designed to create chaos and incite bad blood in northern Nigeria against Tinubu. Bola explained Nigeria's long-standing leadership role in West Africa and its commitment to fostering bilateral relations with neighboring countries. Still to come, Putin chairs Russia's Security Council meeting on interaction in the Caspian region. Israel's Netanyahu to have prostate removed after benign prostate enlargements diagnosis. These and more after the break. To stay with us.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos. People...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
One of the victims of Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash were buried on Saturday in Baku. Flight J28243 crashed on Wednesday in a ball of fire near the city of Atau in Kazakhstan after diverting from an area of southern Russia where Moscow has repeatedly used air defense systems against Ukrainian drone strikes. 13-year-old Mohammedali Yagulov, who was on board that plane, was flying to Grozny to visit his mother. The relative says he was traveling alone. 4 sources with knowledge of the preliminary findings of Azerbaijan's investigation into the disaster said that the Russian air defenses had mistakenly shot it down. On Saturday, Russia's Vladimir Putin apologized to Azerbaijan's president for a tragic incident which happened in Russian airspace. The Kremlin said the call took place at Putin's request. Yemen's Houthi group said on Saturday that it had launched his hypersonic ballistic missile targeting the Nevatim airbase in the Negev deserts of southern Israel. The Houthi military spokesman Yahya Saria claimed in a televised statement the missile successfully hit its target. Saria also commended Yemenis for their high turnout in pro-Palestine protests across the country following Friday prayers.
The missile forces of the Yemeni armed forces, with the help of God, targeted the Nevatim airbase belonging to the Israeli enemy in the Negev region in the south of occupied Palestine using a hypersonic ballistic missile, type Palestine II. The missile successfully hit its target, by the grace of God. The armed forces proudly and with great honor, salute the massive popular outpouring in Sana'a and in various provinces and districts in support of the Palestinian people. They assure all the great Yemeni people that they will continue to fulfill their religious, moral, and humanitarian duties with more military operations against the Israeli enemy until the aggression on Gaza is stopped and the blockade lifted.
The World Health Organization said on Friday he was not sure he was going to survive an airstrike on Yemen's main airport carried out by Israel a day earlier during a series of attacks on the Iran-aligned Houthi movement. Speaking after his ordeal at the Sana'a International Airport on Thursday, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the explosions that rocked the building were so deafening that his ears were still ringing more than a day later. Tedros said it quickly became apparent the airport was under attack, describing people running in disarray through the site after approximately 4 blasts, one of them alarmingly close to where he was sitting near the departure lounge.
while we were at the airport. There was a very heavy explosion, very close. It felt like actually he was just next to me. And the lounge, the departure lounge was hit. The air traffic control tower also was hit, and I think 4 explosions in total, and it was very, very deafening, and people were running in disarray, and of course one of the guys, a Yemeni who was working on our passport, was wounded. One of the crew members of the flight that was there preparing for our departure was wounded.
Speaking by telephone from Jordan, where he flew on Friday, helping to evacuate a UN colleague seriously injured at the airport for further medical treatment, Tedros said he had received no warning Israel could be about to strike the airport. The Israeli strikes on Yemen came after Houthis repeatedly fired drones and missiles towards Israel in what they describe as acts of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said afterwards that Israel was just getting started with the Houthis. The Houthi-controlled Saba news agency said 3 people died in the strikes on the airport and 3 were killed in Hodeidah, with 40 others wounded in the attacks. Meanwhile, footage shown on Yemen's Al Masira TV showed the moment an airport tower was hit by an Israeli strike on Thursday during a series of attacks on the Iran-aligned Houthi movement. The footage shows different views of the explosion and planes on the airport tarmac with people beside the plane. A caption read in Arabic, "The wounding of the co-pilots of the United Nations plane." Meanwhile, 2 rockets were fired from northern Gaza into Israel on Saturday. The Israeli Air Force said they intercepted 2 rockets launched after sirens were triggered in different areas near Jerusalem. Footage captured on camera showed the moments 2 rockets shot up into the sky at 14:14 GMT near the Gaza border, but did not show the interception. Gaza's health ministry reported on Saturday that over 45,000 Palestinians have been killed and over 108,000 wounded in Israel's military offensive on Gaza since October 7, 2023. Yemen's Houthi group said on Saturday that its air defenses had shot down a U.S. MQ-9 drone in the airspace of the central province of Al-Baida. According to the group's military spokesperson Yahya Saraya, the drone was intercepted while carrying out hostile missions and was brought down using a domestically manufactured surface-to-air missile. This marks the 13th aircraft to be dropped down by the Houthis during the Battle of Promised Conquest and Holy Jihad in support of Gaza, Saraya said in a televised statement.
The air defenses of the Yemeni armed forces, with the help of Almighty Allah, managed to shoot down an American MQ-9 drone while it was carrying out hostile missions in the airspace of Al-Baida province. The drone was shot down using a domestically manufactured surface-to-air missile. This is the 13th aircraft that our air defenses have managed to shoot down during the Battle of Promised Conquest and Holy Jihad in support of Gaza. The Yemeni armed forces affirm their continued commitment to countering all enemy attempts to undermine our country's sovereignty and to supporting Gaza through continued operations. These operations will not cease until the aggression against Gaza stops and the siege is lifted.
Russian President Vladimir Putin held a meeting of Russia's Security Council on Saturday. The meeting was closed to the media, but in his opening remarks, Putin said that they were going to discuss interaction in the Caspian region, among other issues related to our work with our allies. The Kremlin did not reveal any further details about the meeting.
Dear colleagues, good afternoon. Today, let's discuss a few issues related to our work with our closest friends, colleagues, partners, and allies. And let's start with the issue of interaction in the Caspian region. Please, you have the floor.
Putin apologized to Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev for a tragic incident which happened in Russian airspace involving an Azerbaijan Airlines passenger plane that crashed after air defenses were used against Ukrainian drones. The jets had flown from Azerbaijan's capital, Baku, to Grozny in Russia's southern Chechnya region before veering off hundreds of miles across the Caspian Sea. At least 38 people were killed in the crash. Israeli forces have detained more than 240 Palestinians, including dozens of medical staff and the director of a North Gaza hospital they raided on Friday, according to both the health ministry in the enclave and Israel's military. Israeli army released a video on Saturday of what was described as their operation around Kamal Adwan Hospital. The Israeli military said the Kamal Adwan Hospital was being used as a command center for Hamas military operations, and all those arrested were suspected militants. On Friday, Hamas dismissed as lies Israel's assertion that its fighters had operated from the hospital throughout the 15-month-old Gaza war, saying no fighters were in the hospital. The group had not yet commented on the 240 arrests. Some patients were evacuated from Kamal Adwan to the Indonesian hospital, which is not in service, and medics were prevented from joining them there, the Gaza Health Ministry says. Other patients' staff were taken to the other medical facilities. The Israeli military said 250 patients and medical personnel were evacuated prior to the Kamal Adwan operation, while another 95 were evacuated to the Indonesian hospital during the operation in coordination with the local health authorities. Relatives of hostages held by the Palestinian militant group Hamas lit Hanukkah candles in Tel Aviv on Saturday during their weekly protest to demand a ceasefire deal that would bring their loved ones back home. The candle lighting took place in the hostage square and was marked by the son of one of the hostages in Gaza, Yiza Lifziz. Hanukkah was also observed with the display of a menorah installation constructed from fragments of missiles fired at Israel. Earlier, hostages' relatives read a statement urging the release of captives after 449 days of being missing. Relatives have been holding such actions weekly in the coastal city since the October 7 attacks.
Today is the fourth day of Hanukkah. In Hanukkah, it's a holiday with light, but we are in dark because my daughter and all the other hostages still kidnapped in Gaza, and we need a deal for bring them home. It must only with a deal to bring them home.
Group Hamas and Israel traded blame on Wednesday over their failure to conclude a ceasefire agreement despite progress reported by both sides in recent days. Hamas said that Israel had laid down further conditions, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused the group of reneging on understandings already reached. Thousands of Israelis protested against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government and its handling of the conflict in Gaza on Saturday. The protest began with a gathering in Democracy Square, where representatives of the batch delivered speeches and held a minute of silence, followed by a march to the Hakia military base. Protesters demanded an end to the war in Gaza and a ceasefire that would bring home the hostages still held by Hamas.
Today is the fourth day of Hanukkah. In Hanukkah,
the way the government is running the country, the control of the extreme right wing on the Prime Minister, and he doesn't seem to have any control over them whatsoever. And it concerns me. I want to see an end to the war. I do support the goal of destroying Hamas because they did terrible things, but I think we've done that as much as possible, and we have to have a ceasefire and we have to end the war and get the hostages back again. And I can't see anybody doing anything to get that going.
We hope to explain that, to demonstrate that the current actions of the government is not acceptable by the majority of the people. This government does not have legitimate mandate from the people. All the polls says that like 80% are against the actions of this government.
And this government hasn't done anything good for the Israeli people, nothing at all. Since then, before the 7th of October, and even after.
Authorities have lifted the ban on Meta's instant messaging platform WhatsApp and Google Play as a first step to scale back internet restrictions, Iranian state media reported on Tuesday. The Islamic Republic has some of the strictest controls on internet access in the world, but its blocks on US-based social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are routinely bypassed by tech-savvy Iranians using virtual private networks.
Yes, I am happy, especially about Google Play because it is somehow the best app store in the world, so I think yes, I think the ban should have been removed. I hope this can be a start for the removal of bans on other applications. There should be fine-grained supervision so that they can manage the app, but being so strict about this will hurt businesses even more and people will no longer be able to continue their work because most of their work is online, and they work through their online shops and their sales are done through a platform like Instagram. And if it is fixed, bans lifted, it will help them a lot. This is what the general public wants, that bans be lifted, so now there are some small people who want it to exist, but in a small and
Media platforms were widely used in anti-government protests in Iran. In September, the United States called on big tech to help evade online censorship in countries that heavily censor the internet, including Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will go into hospital to have his prostate removed on Sunday after he was diagnosed with a urinary tract infection resulting from a benign prostate enlargement, his office say on Saturday.
Yes, I am happy, especially about Google.
The decision to issue an arrest warrant against me, the democratically elected Prime Minister of the State of Israel, and our former defense minister, was made by a rogue prosecutor who's trying to extricate himself from sexual harassment charges, and by biased judges who are motivated by anti-Semitic sentiments against the one and only Jewish state.
For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together.
Peru's northern and central coasts were hit by unusually high waves on Friday and Saturday. Authorities closed 80 ports and several beaches, but no human losses were reported. The tide intensity, which began to increase on December 25th, is now at a strong intensity, according to Captain Eric Varia, the Peruvian Navy's chief of hydrography and navigation.
This particular wave's main characteristic reached a strong intensity. From December, 25 intensity increased from light to moderate, and today to strong. This intensity scale indicates that we are going to have wave heights approximately 3 times the normal waves. If a beach reaches a height of 1 meter, we are going to have waves up to 3 meters. There have been some material losses, but thankfully no human lives due to the authorities, restriction of operations at ports and also the restriction of recreational and fishing activities on different beaches.
I was awake all night because at 3 in the morning the water went inside. It's going to wash away our things. But hopefully it will calm down and maybe there will be some help for us.
According to a report by the Peruvian Navy released on Friday, the swells in the coastal area are expected to last until Wednesday, although it is likely that abnormal swells will persist after that day. Multiple tornadoes have been reported across the Houston area on Saturday, as much as southeast Texas remained under a tornado watch, according to the Houston's Chronicle. A moderate risk for severe weather is in place from eastern Texas through Louisiana and into Alabama on Saturday. Robert DePerry, a resident of Katy, Texas, spotted the twister throwing up debris as it passed by on farmland near his home. Visitors to Times Square said they plans to leave everything from procrastination to bedbugs behind in 2024 as they participated in the annual Good Riddance Day events on Saturday. College students, along with tourists from Paraguay and Colombia, wrote the things they plan to leave behind on small chalkboards and then erase them. The symbolic gesture is intended to give participants a clean slate as they start the new year. While procrastination and negative thinking are among the most popular answers, participants also said they plan to leave an unstable job and bad relationships in the past.
What do you say goodbye to?
Letting others have a say in who I am.
It's like the song This Is Me, right? I'll hold it. You wipe. All right, go for it, buddy. Here we go. Yes. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Happy New Year.
So bed bugs, I'm saying goodbye to those. That was like a month and a half. I'm saying goodbye to loud neighbors. Lost a couple family members. So next year I'm looking for a bit of joy. And I also had a really unstable job. And so I'm going into 2025 with a new one. And so, yeah, I'm just looking for some joy and hopefully like some peace. I want everything to calm down a little bit. It was like literally the worst year of my life.
This is the 18th year Good Riddance Day has been celebrated in Times Square and comes just days before millions are expected to converge in New York City to ring in the new year. The lucky player who bought the winning Mega Millions lottery ticket in California will be ringing in the new year vastly richer than in 2024. The winning of $1.22 billion ticket was sold at a Cottonwood, California store, local media reported on Saturday. The draw for the Mega Millions jackpot was held on Friday night. The winning numbers were 55, 7, 3, 37, 49, and the Mega Ball was 6. According to media reports, the jackpot in the Mega Millions lottery is the 5th largest in the history of the draw. Stefanos Tsitsipas inspired Greece as they edged past Spain in Group C of the United Cup in Perth on Saturday. Jessica Buza's Monero got the Spaniards off to a solid start with a 6-2, 6-1 victory over Maria Sakkari before Tsitsipas got past Pablo Carreño Buster 6-4, 4-6, 6-3 to put Greece on the board. Sakkari and Tsitsipas then fought back to overcome Von Cavall, Ramos and Sergio Martos Gornes 4-6, 6-3, 10-6 to wrap up the tie. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola said it had sunk in during his team's shocking run of results, the worst stretch in his mostly glittering managerial career, how good they were after winning an unprecedented 4 straight Premier League titles. City's 1-1 home draw with Everton on Boxing Day left them down in 7th place, 5 points off the top 4 and 14 adrift of leaders Liverpool, who have a game in hand. They have won once in their last 13 games in all competitions. The 53-year-old, who signed a 2-year contract extension last month, said frustration over poor results has not affected his desire to steer City back to their previous top form.
That made me realize now what we have done. Because sometimes you have injuries, and how many years we were so incredible consistent, you know? But yeah, you expect a little bit down. We didn't expect much, and the main reason is like Jack said, so having 7, 8 important injured players. I will not give up. I want to do it, and with the situations that we have to do it. And now we go a Leicester, it always have been difficult to try to do a good game and get results. And the players will be ready, we will do it. Yeah, I feel, I don't want to disappoint my people. In terms of the club, in terms of the fans or the people who love this club.
If City are to right the ship, the next few weeks could be the best time to do it. Sunday's match at Leicester City is the first of 4 successive league games against teams in the bottom half of the table. Chess great Magnus Carlsen quit the World Rapid and Blitz Chess Championships in New York on Friday after governing body FIDE barred the Norwegian from participating in a round at the tournament for wearing jeans. In a statement, FIDE said its dress code regulations were designed to ensure professionalism and fairness for all participants. The body added that it had issued Carlsen a $200 fine and giving him an opportunity to change into the correct attire, which the world number 1 rejected. Carlsen, world champion between 2013 and 2023, said he had a launch meeting before the round and had to change quickly. The 34-year-old added that he would not appeal the decision, saying he is too old at this point to care too much. And that's the news this hour. I'm Charles Pius. Thanks for watching. See you next on the morning show.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Governor Soludo, who was represented by the State Commissioner for Transport, Patricia Iwebike, noted that about 60 to 70% of containers with goods entered the southeast by road through Onitsha. He stated that dredging the River Niger, which requires about 20 billion naira, will enable businesses to thrive in the area. He called for technical relationship with the Port of Antwerp in Belgium for the mutual benefits of both Nigeria and Belgium. An official of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, Chris Mbono, explained that the Onitsha River Port still has challenges of dredging and regulatory bottlenecks. In his remark, the Belgian ambassador to Nigeria, Lincoln, explained that the visit would enable him explore areas of collaboration with the management of inland waterways. Jude Emecheta, a businessman and politician based in Oka, charged Southeast governors and other stakeholders to extract a commitment from the federal government on how to make the port a reality.
Ambassador will visit, Minister will visit, Commissioner will visit. We're tired of visiting. Let's see action on that river port. That is the nerve center of our business in Nigeria, in Anambra State, the southeast. They should make the port work for us.
Other stakeholders also enumerated the benefits of a port terminal in Onitsha, the commercial nerve center of eastern Nigeria.
Given the role of port, and particularly the role of Onitsha in southeast, and even south-south, because if you look at the location of Onitsha, it's also connect south-south, the upland part of south-south, Asaba, and the environs, with the whole of Delta North. Now, to my mind, I think it should be a priority for that port to start functioning now. Let it start functioning, even if it's at a lower capacity, but let it start functioning, because we need to have a larger one. Our people are importers, manufacturers, industrialists. We need to have it. It will help us a great deal. If you check how much we lose by transporting goods from Lagos port down to the east, the bad road, the tear and wear in the vehicle, and at the end, the products that they bring into our place, the price doubles because of the cost of transportation. But if it is nearby, we can get it.
The Onitsha River Port was commissioned by former President Shehu Shagari in 1983, but has not been operational since then.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Good morning and welcome to Signature Morning. Today is the 29th of December and we're just a few days away from the new year after participating in the Christmas celebration that has been long awaited and anticipated. I don't know how you spent your Christmas, but over here I spent it in this space and I had fun doing that. And of course, I'm not in the studio alone, I'm in the studio with
Charles Pius. I was hoping you were going to say the name there, anyways, but it's fine. Good to have you, everybody. The year is coming to an end, finally. Tick-tock, 2 straight days or 2 more days until the end of the year. I hope you're fine, I hope you're good. Let's go for this very short break. We'll be back after this, so stay with us. And so we're going straight to our dailies this morning. The headlines are quite interesting, and I'm sure that you're going to like some of them. Sunday Tribune is screaming with that interesting headline, 2024, what a year. Nigerians endure untold hardship, more citizens pushed into poverty, 53.9% of Nigerian children multidimensionally poor, so it says the report. Deaths, feuds, heartbreaks for celebrities, all you can find on the Nigerian Tribune.
And we have 13 bonds to death in Ondo auto crash with the rider. Traders count losses in market fire.
Economy will create tension. Food shortage in 2025, says Primate Ayodele.
Okay, and we have Oshun Obaz endorses Adeleke for second term.
Young man pardoned over foul theft to leave prison tomorrow. Arrives Oshun on Tuesday.
Gunmen demand 75 million naira to free Anglican priests, wife and 2 children.
I'm happy our policy is creating positive impact, says Oyebanji.
Winners of 39th National Quranic Competition get cars, Hajj seats and cash prizes.
We're moving over to the Sunday Times newspaper. On the Sunday Times, VP Shatima commiserates with victims of military airstrike in Sokoto.
3 divisional Nigerian army immortalized Labaja.
Troops neutralizes ESN terrorists, recover weapon, loses 2 security agents.
2027, Umahi backs me for a second term bid.
Tiwa Savage announces plans to quit music. And do what?
I wonder. Wike 6 Rivers funds for presidential ambition, Sarai Gay.
Oh, wow. 2027, Umahi backs Winfrey's second term bid. Okay, we're moving over to the other newspaper. And now to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch this morning, Nigeria-Niger face-off. It's on page 3 and 34. 45 borders against external threats. Retired generals, ex-envoy tells federal government with a rider, Nigeria and Niger need each other to fight insecurity, says NIADG.
Fuel subsidy removal created more problems, NLC tells president.
APC opposition differ on calls to end defections.
Why Oyo has chosen new Alafin, 92-year-old ex-senator.
Minister blamed vandalism as government fails to meet 6,000 megawatt power targets.
Minister blames vandalism as government fails to make 600. 12,000 Oni ex-Queens supporters demand justice as video proves government aware of funfair.
From multiple explosions to tragic stampedes, 20 dominant events of 2024.
Sweet poison, how local producers mix detergent soda with fufu to maximize profits.
2027, political movements spread as big wigs plot Tinubu's ouster. All right. We're moving over to the Nation newspaper. On the Nation newspaper this morning, tax bills, governors, stakeholders in high wire consultations with a rider intensify horse trading ahead of National Assembly resumption.
And we have Sokoto airstrikes. We are sorry, dismayed by casualties, says Shatima. Excuse me, with the rider offers condolences over incident at Jigawa tragedy.
Still on the Nation newspaper, Sokoto airstrikes. We are sorry, dismayed by casualties, says Shatima.
And we have North communities and traditional rulers debunk Niger president's allegation, deny presence of terrorist training camp in their localities.
13 burns to death in Ondo accidents. Still on the Nation, defilements, Lagos heads for Supreme Court over doctor's acquittal.
Kidnapped Anglican priest and family regained freedom.
All of the details you can find on the Nation newspaper this morning. We're back to the studio, live right now with Chris Madaka. Chris, good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
Good morning,
Chris. Quinsley. Best compliment of the season. I just missed you guys for a few days. Wesley says she celebrated her Christmas here. It is one of the best places to celebrate Christmas. I wish you're not outside. To celebrate Christmas inside is one of the best things that can happen to you. But be that as it may, we are here, and we thank God it's a new day. We are counting down to 2025. And the first issue we'll be looking at is what Tribune said. He said, 2024, what a year. Charles, you know you will be expecting me to review 2020 or review the headline.
Absolutely.
But 2024 is such a huge year for Nigeria. You know, you look at it, most Nigerians see 2024 as the elephant and the 10 blind men. Some touched at the tail. Some touched the trunk. Some touched the, you know, there are a lot of parts Nigerians touch 2024. But majority of the people touched 2024 on the wrong side. And they felt just like the rider that the president of Labour Congress, fuel subsidy removal created more problems. Now, what it means, you are linking it up to 2024, is like somebody is being threatened that they will kill you or they will burn you to death. And you go and take a good bath with some of this combustible liquid. And that's essentially what happened to Nigeria. They were like, wow, God has saved us from the pangs of General Buhari. And now we are looking forward to what President Tinubu will do to redeem us from 8 years of what Nigeria described then as suffering. And when the election of 2023 happened and President Tinubu won, we are looking forward to something different. And the water started, get spoiled from the head when this fuel subsidy removal came. It made 2024 so bad for Nigerians that you don't know. They're all linked together when you say there's one creative, very creative headline I was giving here. It said from multiple explosions to tragic stampedes. What a year. If you remember states like Zamfara, so many killings, kidnap, Sokoto, Borno, the northeast, northwest, some part of north central. Southeast, the number of people that lost their lives in two different ways. And now the year ended, we thought it's just going to end that way. Stampede that claimed the lives of people, and you link it to the same thing that shaped 2024 as a year of disaster for Nigerians. But like, this is a Sunday morning, a lot of Nigerians are in the churches praying to God, giving him thanks. And there is this Bible passage that says, in all things give thanks to God. Whenever you remember that you are disarmed, you say, okay, for whatever it is, you are alive. There are people who lost their lives. Not that anybody, there's a way you look at it, it's like, okay, because I'm alive, that's why I'm grateful to God. But what else can we say? But when you look at it, it's only the living that can praise and worship God. So we that survived it, hoping, because this 2024 is such a year, we just are counting down to maybe 48 hours to see and say, God, is it 48 or 70? Is it?
More than 48 hours.
More than 48 hours. We're thinking about 2025. Everybody looks forward to 2025 that will come. Charles, 2024 is a year to remember.
Indeed.
By all Nigerians. I will thank God for life, that we are here. We thank God for the resilience given to Nigeria. We thank God that in all things we are still have our heads above the earth, talking with our mouth, acting with our hands and legs, moving, thinking with our heads, breathing with our nose, and just in all things we are grateful to God. And we said, I will say, a lot of people in the church, this is the last Sunday of the year. The best thing will be asking God, of course 2024 won't come back, but let no year in the future resemble 2024 for Nigeria.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the things that we would hope that some of the things we saw in 2024 don't repeat itself in 2025. For instance, this young man that has been pardoned over fowl theft, he's leaving prison tomorrow. Like, you arrest somebody, try the person, and put him in prison because he stole fowl.
Yeah.
And then you have people who have stolen billions. That's the reason why most people don't really take our judiciary seriously. Because it's the same judiciary that would put the man who stole fowl to prison. It's the same judiciary that also look at a man who have embezzled monies into trillions of dollars of Nigerian naira, and then they would give them some sort of
they're providing a platoon of police escort and some red carpet reception, and some people will want to do selfie because he has obtained bail, and somebody stole. They allege somebody stole 708 something billion, and you gave him 500,000 naira bail, and his friends and court are celebrating in a state government house in Nigeria. You are not far away from what I'm thinking. This is what some of the things, when we remember 2024, you said this thing happened in Nigeria in 2024. And that's part of our prayer. I said, God, let it not happen again. Because if what happened in the recent past actually continue in the recent future, Nigeria is sitting on time bomb. A lot of people are warned. One of the prophets in the today's newspaper, is it Prophet Ayodele?
Prime Minister Ayodele.
Yes. What did he say? He said something that in as much as we are praying and that 2025 will be a year of hunger and hardship again and unemployment and all, because 2024 effect will ripple.
Yeah.
And he's just because he's a man of God, you don't need a man of God to tell you that when the foundation is bad, it's also biblical. I'm not a prophet. But the way he said it, when the foundation is bad, the righteous people will suffer or something, whatever it is. And that is it. When the foundation that's going to give birth to 2025, it's really tough and bad and unpredictable. When you are thinking that the Dangote said he's selling for 899 naira, and it's written all over the Nigerian newspaper. And then the Ipman said they are selling at 935 or so. We still go to the filling stations to buy at over 1,000 naira. So we're confused. That is 2024. I know how many years I've stayed in life and just still thank God. And this is 2024. For the first time in my life, Nigerians have to queue to buy fuel. Fuel. That God has given us in that abundance. And Nigeria, if you're counting, second or third highest producers of crude oil in Nigeria, cannot refine, or they still tell you the landing cost of what should be at the backyard is 1,000 over, and some areas just give margin because how it goes. Between Abuja and ENUGU and the extreme of ENUGU and the extreme of Ebonyi State and River State, you see how the prices change. So I've always said it's 1,400 naira on the average. For the first time in 2024. And that's where we'll get.
There's a whole lot really happening, I must say. The issue between Nigeria and Niger is one that has, gone through the headlines across board. And one would wonder where this is coming from, whether it's a kite that the leader of the military in Niger is pushing, or it is actually the truth that Nigeria is actually liaising with France to build a base in Nigeria in order to destabilize Niger. Given what has happened in the last few years, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso have, become a bit of a problem with France. They have an issue, and France is going out of that country.
France is obvious. I am probably not like Quincy. Diplomatically, physically, emotionally, anything, and it's like if I see Quincy, he said, Quincy, just stay away from me. And then you are my friend Charles, and we are very close. The next morning, I found you, very close to Quincy, to the point that, so how do you want me to feel? It's a natural thing. Natural thing. How can a big brother Nigeria taking a lead in ECOWAS? And about 4 ECOWAS nations are fighting and saying, we don't want France. France is not is a bad influence. And the father or the big brother has come to negotiate an alliance and sign new deals bilateral at their level, whatever that means. And then some bilateral agreement is not that, okay, you're free to come in and go. That you come in to start mining. And the nearest neighbors to mining, and where you have almost 34 mineral resources under Nigerian soil, is at the borders near Niger Republic. If you are the president of Niger Republic, or the leader, or the military junta, how are you going to feel? You feel so unsafe, and it's natural for the man to raise alarm. Because we are this side, you will know we are in Nigeria, is our president has gone to sign such deal, and probably, like I have always said in the past, President Bola Tinubu, our dear president, from whichever height he is, the view over Nigeria is clearer for him. That's the hope. It's very supposed that the view is clearer. So he will take such decision for you. So we are not here to discuss the decision. We are discussing that our neighbors are not happy with the decision of our president. And we can see that they are justified by their actions because they are afraid. Everybody, every good leader that bothers about and thinks about the future should be very scary of such a relationship.
But the government has denied it. It's denied that they are not, having any base, any France base in Nigeria or anywhere around the border. That is a false alarm, and that what the Niger junta is doing is inciting northern Nigeria by using Hausa to, speak to what the issues are. He knew how to speak English. He didn't use English. It's a French-speaking country. So why did he use Hausa? Because he wants to incite the Hausa region or the northern region against the president. Don't you think so?
There are 3 things that involve. If they say, like you mentioned before, is he flying a kite? He might be flying a kite to find out exactly what the situation is. Now you have opened up. But then, if my father said that life is so precious to anybody, and if anybody want to take yours, and you struggle, you don't know what to do, you swallow it in your stomach. If somebody want to take yours, then I want to that's the Igbo proverb. Now, if the Niger junta man is struggling and he want to use everything available, he's multilingual, and his closest neighbors are Hausa speaking, and he speaks Hausa, and he want to exploit that to get safety and get assurance. Are you blaming him for that? I'm sure when our president went to France, he would have tried some few French language he knows to get applause. And, and he traveled, some of them when they were doing campaign, they travel around Nigeria that have over 400 languages. Some of them will enter Igbo land and the first thing is Igbo Kwenu. And he will shout as if to show you that they want to. So that he's using the language of Hausa language, he's using the best advantage he has for his purpose, and that's what he's achieved. He's a young, creative man that knows what he wants. And to be very sincere, if we had looked at and valued our relationship with him, because you cannot bite somebody in the other side that is so dirty, and you didn't bother about it. When the man want to bite you in your head, he want to think about your brain. No. There's no, you don't decorate fight. When they fight, when they ruffle, like Nigerians will all say in the pidgin language, when the ruffle thing get worse, you know, anywhere you get the blow, you take it. What, if Nigerians have taken that boat without consulting them, without due consideration of their feeling, and we go and sign alliance of handship and sweetheart relationship with France, you expect a young man to sit, he can do everything to redeem himself or even be a spoiler for you. So if he uses outside people because he speaks outside to put spoiler, all well and good. This is part of why our policymakers are advised to think through every situation. Think about the pros and the cons. You are not alone. In the race of diplomatic relationship, you are not alone. You have to consider, that's why diplomacy is a very complex area of life. And you require people who are well, positioned in that ground to lead Nigeria in such a, because they will see 25 years ahead. Some of them see 200 years ahead of every relationship. And in Nigeria and Niger are like twins. It's just IRA or RIA that are just separate the two. So, and the borders, you wouldn't even know. People who travel by road, you wouldn't even know when you leave Nigeria to enter Nigeria. So, if such relationship are considered and they think is valuable, it's going to be, if not now, in the future, we would have considered to quickly rush. I'm sure you remember our president was, he didn't get much support because the 4 closest neighbors who were expecting to give him support as ECOWAS, the next thing is that they were saying that they don't want, they just move against France. So this may be also another card being played by our president to pay them back in their own coin. So that's about that.
Okay. Chris, one of the headlines said that gunmen are demanding over 75 million naira to free an Anglican priest that was kidnapped with his wife and children. What do you have to say about that?
This has been part of the thing that shaped 2024. And you remember on this desk, when we are doing review, there have been newspaper headlines that gave us what they call a huge amount of money that said that the researchers has felt that have gone into kidnapping business in Nigeria.
Yes.
That was more than the budget of almost 20 states put together. What had gone into in the last 2 decades or more in Nigeria alone. So you find that for this kind of thing to happen, 75 million for a family to be released. If you ask him, if a state government in Southeast devotes 75 million for either one of the ministries, department or agency to carry out a project, 75 million naira can build a school. 75 million naira can build an skill acquisition center, where if you feel that those who had gone into kidnapping are because they don't have skills on them, would go and acquire skills. 75 million naira can train more than 5,000 youths and give them empowerment, enough empowerment to take off trade and start life. 75 million naira. Some group of people, I don't know their number, have kidnapped a family and they're asking for that. And now because they know the value of the family they're asking for, and they know that probably the Anglican Church will rally together, everybody will put money together, and they do this. When Methodist bishop was kidnapped in Nigeria, we had letter of how much. It was more than beyond this. That one was 100 million. That was when early stage of this kidnap of the clergy and all that. It's not something anybody will want to talk about. It's totally some of the things we want to wish away with 2024. Because if it continues, Charles, You know, like this morning, a lot of people didn't eat because they don't have money to eat. They lost to the church. And some of these priests give them hope, talk to them, preach, tell you about heaven and paradise, that when you persist and resist devil, you will see God. And a lot of people will go back enriched. Now, when they become part of the people that are being attacked, you mean they've destroyed all the basic thing that makes Nigeria to survive. So you don't look this way and get a counsel from a religious leader. You don't go this way and get counsel from the stomach infrastructure leader. You don't look this way, and so you are totally become a useless a mulatto. I think that you are confused. You are not politically, you are not religiously, you are not economic, you are not physically surviving, you are just existing. I read one book written by Olarotimi, it's a drama. He said, that's where I use the word if. Is the title of the drama is If. What Olarotimi said, if what is happening in Nigeria in the recent past continue in the recent future. And this is a book, Olarotimi of blessed memory, professor of theater arts and drama, wrote this over 50 years ago. If what is happening in the past continue in recent future, then if this what happened in 2024 continue in recent future in 2025, Nigeria has no hope. And whatever they are thinking that we are building a house with biscuits. That's what this thing is about. So if Nigeria will sit down and all the people that have lost hope in Nigeria have turned criminality, the big sector where the researchers said the amount of money that gone into criminality in Nigeria is more than what has gone into productivity business in Nigeria, then something is wrong. That means Nigeria is at the point of either implosion or explosion, and this is very dangerous. May God help us as we count down for 2025 to count down 2024 to enter 2025. I think we pray that what happened in the recent past shouldn't continue in the recent future in Nigeria.
Amen.
Compliment of the season, the world, and Nigeria, and Charles and Signature Television.
Compliments to you. I almost called you barrister. All right, we are going for a short break, but just before we get in there, I mean, we're still reeling about the Azerbaijan plane crash that happened. I'm hearing and I'm seeing that's breaking news that's going on right now. Another plane crash that has happened, killing at least 122 people. And this time around, it is quite devastating. The other one, we know that there are a number of persons who survived. But this one, it does look like there's more people who had passed because the plane was carrying 175. But we're hearing that 122 may have died in that plane crash. But we'll bring you details just after this short break. So stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. This is still New Day on Signature Television. And of course, you know that we're still following a story about 122 persons having to be killed when a commercial airplane crashed this morning at a South Korean airport. Officials are saying the Jeju Air flights veered off a runway while landing at Muon International Airport and caught fire after the crash. A spokesperson for the country's National Fire Agency have said the flight, which originated from Bangkok, was carrying 175 passengers and 6 crew members. The spokesperson says that at least 2 of the passengers were Thai, said Ju Jong-wan, director of the Aviation Policy Division at South Korea's Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport. Lee said the birds strike and adverse weather also appeared to have played a role, but cautioned that the exact cause was still under investigation. Of those killed, at least 45 were female and 35 were male. Lee says additional information about the dead was not immediately released, but we would continue following this development as it reaches us. All right, the country, of course, Nigeria. We're counting down to the end of the year, and a whole lot of persons are taking stock of what has happened, especially economically. More Nigerians actually became poorer because of the activities of the government, the policies, the programs, and some others also got richer. Some people would say it's as if the elites got richer and then the poor actually got poorer by the economic indices that were seen, at least preliminary. We have with us on Zoom an economic expert who would give us an insight into what has basically happened in the last year and in the projection for the year 2025. We have Nika Jule. Good to have you. Good morning, sir.
Morning, and sad news in South Korea. We are ending the year on bad news of aviation accident, and we hope we don't have any more before the year ends.
Okay, interesting. For you, from your own end, as what you have seen and witnessed, how do you describe the economy of Nigeria the year 2024?
The economy is not doing well. Nigeria is an economic giant in terms of potential, but in reality, we are not, because successive administrations over time have failed to do the basics that actually makes an economy to grow and become big. So to show you that Nigeria is not doing well economically, all of the indices that determine the health of an economy are going southwest in Nigeria. Number one, inflation is rising, unemployment is big, we have food crisis, there is insecurity, infrastructure is decaying. Nigeria is depending on importation of basic things because we don't have steel plants. Anything that has to do with machinery, we're importing it. We're even importing food. We're importing huge amount of petroleum products, but recently with Dangote refinery, that has reduced but not stopped. Because we're still importing things like gas. So if you look at all of this, you discover that the economy is not doing well. I mean, high interest rates. In Nigeria, as an economy, we have interest rate that is touching 30%. There's no economy that will survive with that. Unemployment is huge. Food crisis everywhere. So you can see that on those indices, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
All right. With what we have also seen, it seems that there is more monies available to governments than it used to be. And so many persons have said that may not necessarily be a good thing. If you look at the removal of fuel subsidy, I mean, there is now more monies for the government. The government is largely not paying any more subsidy to basically anyone. So that money saved is with the government. We've seen states receive more monies than they used to receive. So I'm just wondering from your end, Is it a good thing that the government has more monies and then the people are poorer than they used to be?
Whether government has more money is debatable, because let us not forget that before this administration came into power, the the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, otherwise known as FAC, used to distribute about 600 billion to the federal, state, and local governments. That money now is 1.4, 1.5. I think the last one was even 1.7 trillion. So if you look at it on that count, you would think that, oh, the FAC proceeds have now doubled, more than doubled, almost tripled. But immediately you look at the exchange rate, because when FAC proceeds were 600 billion naira, exchange rate was 460. At the advent of the current government, official exchange rate was 460. That official rate now is more than 1,500. So given that Nigeria is importing, we're importing everything, you discover that these monies that seem to now have been doubled or even tripled are even smaller than the 600 billion at the exchange rate of 460. Because if you divide the 600 billion by 460, you have a lot more dollars than if you divide the 1.5, 1.6 trillion naira by 1,500. And we're buying everything in dollars. Nigeria, as of today, there's almost even food, we're importing food, because one of the government's cardinal policies is that let them go and import food. So we're importing food, we're importing vehicles, we're importing machinery, we're importing pharmaceuticals, we're importing the machines that we use, the cars, we're importing technology, we're importing education, we're importing healthcare, we're importing tourism. Because if you travel abroad on a holiday, you have imported tourism. You are in Nigeria, you went abroad to go and buy tourism. It's import. The same thing to send children abroad and all of that. So there's really no more money available. And you made a good point. When this government came into power, they said that in fact, they didn't say, they actually switched off subsidies on petrol, on electricity, and on foreign exchange. And it is expected that these subsidies would have put trillions in government coffers. So far, I don't think there has been accounting for that, because the fact process itself are coming from the exchange rate collapse. How do I mean?
Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
What you've given us an overview of what the Nigerian economy looks like over the year, and now I want to ask, what are the main obstacles that the Nigerian economy face towards development of Nigeria, and how best can these be addressed?
Anytime I'm asked this question, I always have to start with a caveat that we can sit here and discuss the Nigerian economy all day. But there is one factor that is militating against economic growth in Nigeria, and to ensure that Nigerians have better quality of life than we have currently, and improve on our human development indices. And that factor is that Nigeria as a democracy is not being run, is not being governed with the rule of law. You see, the rule of law is central to any human existence. For those who are Christians, if we go to the Bible, immediately God created man and woman. The first thing he did was to give them the law. He said, eat all trees, but don't eat that tree in the middle. That's the law. And of course, man being what he is, he broke the law. And when he broke the law, God came in with the judiciary. There was a trial in the garden. God asked man the question, and when man did not provide sufficient answer, there was sentencing. You know, God said, I will do this to you. And actually, God went ahead and did it. If you look at countries that are doing well, economically, socially, politically, everything, they are following this template for running human society. As I'm speaking to you now, I'm speaking to you from the United Kingdom. Everybody in this country is under the law. And if you break the law, it doesn't matter who you are, the law is going to come after you. until we run Nigeria that way, we're not going to have a prosperous country that we hope for. So that is the background. Every other thing we're going to discuss here is because there's a breakdown in law and order. That is why these symptoms are manifesting. Now, if you look at the immediate symptoms, you say, what should we deal with immediately to help Nigeria come out of where we are now? Number one is electricity. Electricity is the lifeblood to any modern day 21st century economy. Any economy that does not have adequate electricity is not going to do well, because we're in the info and industrial age and it's powered with electricity. If Nigeria thinks that we can grow our economy with 3,000 to 5,000 megawatts of electricity, it means we're calling South Africa stupid, because South Africa has 65 million people and they are doing 55,000 megawatts. We are telling them that you didn't need 55,000 megawatts. You could have used 5,000 megawatts. You could have grown your economy. We're actually saying Brazil, for instance, is foolish, because they have a similar population like ours, 200 million plus people, and they are doing 150,000 megawatts. And we are trying to tell Brazil that, look, Nigeria, we are doing well with 5,000. What do you need? What do you need to spend money on 150? So that has been the problem, the basic problem from 1960, when we became independent to date, that Nigerian leaders don't consider that electricity is important. And too much failure. That is number one. Number two, we need to deal with agriculture, right? You have to feed your people. A lot of the anger you see in Nigeria is because people are hungry. But fortunately for us, we have the landmass, right? I tell people that Nigeria is 4 times bigger than the United Kingdom. A lot of people get shocked. True. The United Kingdom made up of 4 countries. Nigeria is 4 times bigger than them. We have the land. We have the climate. We have the population. We have the water bodies. What else do we need to do agriculture? That Nigeria is not going to import food. So of course, we need infrastructure. We need security. These are basics. They must be in place. If they are not in place, there's absolutely no way your economy will grow, not even by magic. So if I were President Tinubu, if I were to advise President Tinubu, I would tell him that, Mr. President, don't bother about these foreign trips. Just sit back like Paul Kagame in Rwanda sat back. Fix Nigeria. Once we fix Nigeria, the foreigners are going to come in with their investment. One resource I say we have that we are wasting, and it's not gas, which we are flaring away, is the sunshine. As I'm speaking to you now in the United Kingdom, it is still dark. I wish I can turn my camera so that you can look outside. It is still dark. The sun hasn't come out. The sun is not going to come out because they don't have the sunshine during winter. That's why it's cold. And then these people will carry their money and go and buy sunshine in Nigeria. So imagine that we welcome 10 million tourists every year, each of them spending an average of $10,000. That's $100 billion, right? That is money we can get by selling the sunshine, which we don't spend a dime to produce. God has given it to us free of charge. So the president just needs to sit back and deal with basics. Like I've said, electricity, the rail transportation security, gas, petroleum products, agriculture. And then you see how the economy will start booming. Because on the one side, if you deal with agriculture, yes, it is going to ensure that we have food sufficiency and security, but it will also create jobs. So that the millions of young people who have graduated from school are looking for jobs, they will become gainfully employed. And that also takes care of insecurity. Because a lot of the insecurity is perpetrated by jobless youth who fall into wrong hands. But if they are working in good, decent, well-paying jobs, they are not going to be available. So our leaders, not only President Tinubu, the governors and local government chairmen, they need to sit back and do the hard work so that Nigeria economy will begin to do better.
All right. I understand the perspective from your end, given that most Nigerians are really, really angry about the economic policies of the government. From the government perspective, if you hear the indices from the government, talking about the GDP ratio and then the fact that they are able to even pay back some of the loans that they've received, it looks positive from the government's angle. Do you think that this positivity from the government can be translated into positive for other people, like the people who have been impacted by some of the other policies that these governments have actually embarked upon? Do you think there's a span, there's a plan to alleviate this hardship, this suffering, given that now that the government can breathe, unlike what used to happen under the Buhari administration, that over time that things will settle out?
Well, I hear people who tout these economic indices like GDP growth rate and say, oh, we are paying off our debts, our debt service budget is now less and things like that. But look, that is not a good measure of economic policy. A good measure of economic policy has to be the quality of life of the people. So if you ask Nigerians, from May 2023, when this current government came into power, to today, in December 2024, are they better off? Are they better off? If the answer is no, then it doesn't matter what other economic indices we're talking about. Like in the 2025 budget, the government estimates that we are going to grow by 4.6%. To me, that's not good enough. Given Nigeria's potential, we should be a double-digit growth economy. There's no reason why Nigeria cannot grow 10, 15%. If we unlock the factors of production in Nigeria, I can give you one example, for instance. Do you know that Nigeria has got steel plants built all over the country? Do you know that these plants have been dead for so long? If you go to, I have been to two of the plants. I have been to the one in Alaja, near Warri, and I've been to the one in Ajaokuta. You need to go to these steel plants, you will weep for Nigeria. You will say, why can we have this kind of investment like this and allow it to rot? And because we don't have steel plant in Nigeria, it means everything that has to do with iron and steel, we're importing it. Just anything, whether it's building material, it's vehicles, it's machinery, is oil industry, rigs, everything is imported because we're not producing the steel here in Nigeria. If we get these steel plants fired up, not only is it going to now produce steel so that we'll start manufacturing these things in Nigeria, it will also create jobs. Who will return back to those places? And they will tell you that I didn't have a job last year, but I have a job now. That is the way you measure economic activities, not by GDP growth or how much debt you are paying and things like that. And now to your question as to whether things are going to get better, my question back to those who say this thing is how. For instance, we have allowed our 4 refineries to die. As I speak today, they are dead. Okay? So now we are left in the hands of a monopoly Dangote refinery or importation of petroleum products. This is why the cost is high. Now, so long as those refineries are dead, how is petroleum pricing going to get better? How is it going to come to the 600, 500 levels? Is it by magic? The only way they will come down is if we get refineries working. What is the government doing right now to get refineries working? I've seen nothing, as I know, because so long as it's in the hands of the NNPCL, they have mismanaged the refineries over the years. So what is going to be the magic for them under the same leadership to do something different? I can give you an instance about agriculture. Food is very expensive now, and that is because farmers that used to produce food have been driven away from their farms into IDP camps. All right? Now, so long as the government is not returning farmers back to their farms, how can food get better? How can it get cheaper? Is it by magic? And our farmers have been using muscle energy, that is their physical energy, to farm. Without government bringing in machines so that their output can increase, how can food get better? Is it by magic? We have been flaring gas in the Niger Delta. Without government taking action to harness the gas and push it into the economy, how can gas become cheaper? Is it by magic? Transportation cost, because petrol is high, transportation cost is high. How can transportation cost become cheaper when petrol remains high? Is Nigeria building railways where you will know that, okay, workers can go to work on trains and that will become cheaper and more comfortable? If that is not happening, how can things get better? So for me, The media, which is the community that you people belong to, when these people tell you that things are going to get better, please put back the question to them to practically demonstrate to you how things will get better. How will petrol become cheaper? How will food become cheaper? Right? How will rent become cheaper? How would education become cheaper? Healthcare become cheaper? If government is not putting in the hard work to change those things, put the question back to them and let them respond, and we will be able to analyze it further.
Okay.
Over time, we've seen, especially with fuel and the cost of fuel for the country, we've seen that decrease. We know that it rose from, it came down from 1,000 to 1,004, down to now around 900, 950, 920, as the case may be, depending on the marketer that you are buying from. Do you think over time that fuel was going to come down? Because largely what is driving food costs and transportation is the increase in pump price, exacerbated, of course, by the fact that the government removed fuel subsidy. So do you think over time that these particular fuel prices will come down, given that the naira for crude is something that has taken effect, and then we have other people who are going to play in that field, who would be given more licenses to establish their own refineries, and when these happen over time, we can have a situation where prices of things come down, and then hopefully it becomes a lot better as we progress into 2025 and 2026.
Okay, so two things. The first is that you said if more people are awarded licenses and they build refineries, things will get better. I agree with that. Because Nigeria's inflation is a supply deficit inflation because we don't have enough in the market. That's why prices are high. So long as people build more refineries and bring them on stream, of course, the cost of petroleum products will fall. But the current situation that we have now, like you have described, okay, it was above 1,000 and is now 900. We cannot tell the exact cost of petroleum products in Nigeria now, so long as Dangote refinery is a monopoly. That is a fact, and Nigerians must come to that. During December, I mean, in the run up to Christmas, Dangote refinery announced, I think, a 20 naira reduction in price, and then they were sounding like a philanthropy. The good heart of Dangote. But we have forgotten that when Dangote refinery launched its refinery earlier in the year, from that time till as I speak to you now, the price of crude oil in the international market has oscillated between $60 to $90. If Dangote refinery was facing good competition, we also needed to have seen a drastic fall in the price of petroleum products, because by the time the crude oil now went down to like $61, $62, from about the $80 that it was when he launched his refinery, the 1,000 naira mark that he had put on his family should have come down to about 600, 500. That has not come, right? Because there is nobody else who can put products in the market at the same scale like Dangote refinery. So we can never have fair pricing so long as he is a monopoly. And that is why President Tinubu needs to take urgent action on our 4 refineries. He needs to take these 4 refineries out from the operatorship of the NNPCL and hand them to competent private sector operators so that they can quickly refurbish refineries and bring their products into the market. And when all these refineries put their products into the market and start competing against each other, that is when we will now know that the price of petrol we are buying is at fair prices. Otherwise, now we can never tell. And I tell you that we should be buying petrol much cheaper than the 900 naira we're buying now, given the price of crude oil in the international market.
Okay, Nick. You've mentioned other structural reforms. I want to know, what are the other structural reforms that are most critical for Nigeria's economic growth in a very short term?
So to manage an economy, you need 2 policies: monetary policy, fiscal policy. For the benefit of our viewers who may not understand these technical terms, monetary policy is run by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So they deal with fighting inflation, money supply in the economy, interest rates, and things like that, right? And the monetary policy in Nigeria has been, since the current central bank governor was appointed, is to increase interest rates, right? And to increase interest rates, you mean you are contracting, you are tightening the economy. You don't want the economy to grow because you think that there is too much money in the economy and you want to pull that money out into the coffers of the central bank to control inflation. Meanwhile, the other half of economic policy management, which is fiscal policy, that is the one that is run by government budget. All right. So when you talk about taxation, government revenue, government expenditure, where they are putting the money in the economy, that is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is on a growth path. Like we have a 2025 budget, they say, oh, the economy will grow by 4.6%. Now you can see the danger here that Nigeria has been facing. These two economic policies are like the two lungs of a chest. You see my chest, I have a lung on my right and a lung on my left, right? So if monetary policy is the lung on my left and fiscal policy is the lung on my right, for proper functioning of my body, both of them need to be going in the same direction. They breathe in and out in the same direction. So as the central bank monetary policy is tightening, fiscal needed to be also tightening. But in Nigeria, monetary is tightening, fiscal is trying to grow. This is why the economy is in a cardiac arrest. There is a big dichotomy between the two policies. So you can see, as we said earlier, the FAC, which is Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, has grown from about 600 billion to about 1.4, 1.5 trillion. They are pushing that money into the economy to try and grow the economy. Immediately they push the money in the economy, the central bank says, oh, there's too much money, there's too much liquidity in the economy, and then they raise interest rate to try and mop up that money. How are we going to grow? So to start 2025, President Tinubu has appointed a minister called Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Perhaps the Minister of Finance has not yet started doing his coordinating role. Let him put the monetary and fiscal together and say, look, we cannot be breathing at in different directions. We must breathe in together. What do we really want? Do we want a contraction in the economy or do we want growth in the economy? Whichever that they decide, both policies must go together with that. But for me, if you ask me, the central bank policy is totally wrong, very wrong, because yes, we have inflation, but there are two types of inflation. You have the inflation that is people having too much money, chasing too few goods. And that's the one we say is demand pull inflation. Then you have inflation that there is no enough supply of goods and services in the market. And that's the one we call cost push inflation. The central bank knows very well because they say it that Nigeria's inflation is not demand pull because how many people have money to chase what, right? Minimum wage 70,000 naira is round about maybe $50 a month. So what's the purchasing power? Our inflation is because we don't have enough. We don't have enough food. That's why food inflation is 40%, right? We don't have enough petroleum products. That's why it is 1,000 plus or maybe 900 now. So to solve that kind of inflation, you don't hike interest rate. Rather, you take steps to increase the output. And that output is not happening. And that is why the central bank has successively increased interest rate throughout 2024, yet inflation is still going up, right? So we just need to change gear and do things differently in 2025 because at the rate at which we are going now, there is more pains for Nigerians that are coming and there is no way things will get better because there is no basis for things getting better.
All right. I mean, power plays a very critical role, in economic development. Just recently, I think today's news, in fact, the Minister of Power says that the reason why Nigeria hasn't attained the 6,000 megawatts that it's targeted this year was because of the physical destruction of infrastructure across the nation, especially North Central and Northeast. What strategies do you think that can be deployed in order to be able to shore up our power sector so that we can have a constant power supply for economic growth and development?
I'm sorry, but the Minister of Power, you see, this is one appointment that President Tinubu has made, which is hurting him badly. President Tinubu needed to bring in a power sector expert, a real professional, someone who understands power, to come and fix power for Nigeria. He brought Mr. Adelabo. He's a lawyer. I don't know his pedigree or expertise in the power sector, and I have watched him over time, and he doesn't come across to me as someone who is confident about what he's talking about. Look, power is never generated by magic, right? For you to increase power supply, there are three bases, three stages in the power value chain. There is the generation, there's the transmission, and there's the distribution, right? So as Nigeria is doing 3 to 5,000 megawatts now, if we want to increase that to say 10,000 megawatts, it means we must have more power plants come on board. That's the first stage. If you don't generate more power, then how can you increase the output, right? So has the minister told us how many power plants have fired up under his administration? And they have fired up with insecurity on towers somewhere in the northeast, is what is militating against it. Okay, so if towers in the northeast are being brought down, why is power cut happening in Abuja where he is? Have they also brought down towers there? Why is he not supplying power to the other states in Nigeria so that we can now attend 24/7 power supply, right? So you can see that his reasoning is totally faulty, doesn't make meaning. Now, let me tell you what the problem in the power sector in Nigeria is. And perhaps Mr. Adelabu, if he gets to watch our interview, let him know, maybe perhaps he doesn't know, okay? So in 2013, Nigeria did the power privatization, right? So that was when we sold off the assets that were being controlled by NEPA, the former NEPA, or power holding company as they became. Now, the generation assets were sold, largely sold, even though government is still holding some under the Niger Delta Power Holding Company. But they sold them to the Tony Elumelus and the Tedolas, real businessmen who have the money to do generation. Then the distribution was also sold. That's where we came about with the DISCO, distribution companies, where you have a KGR distribution, a co-distribution, right? The middle part, which is the transmission, was not sold. And it has become a bottleneck. So even that the generation have been now privatized, generation cannot generate what transmission cannot carry, right? Some of the national system collapse, the grid collapses that we have been having, some of them is generation trying to push a bit of more power into transmission, and transmission just can't carry it, and it just goes down. And then distribution was sold to non-actors in the power sector. All the distribution companies were registered as CAC, by politically exposed persons, and then they were given licenses. They have been sitting on these licenses. They don't have the expertise, the technical know-how, the money, and all that to put in. So if Mr. Adelabu wanted to solve power situation in Nigeria, instead of getting himself fixated with towers that have been brought down in the Northeast, he should have simply taken action to transfer the transmission company of Nigeria into private sector operatorship, so that the private sector will bring their money and expand the transmission network. Once they expand the transmission network, it then means generation can now generate more power and put in that transmission network. Then Mr. Adelabo should have gone to deal with the discourse. I would prefer that they take the licenses away from them, because for like 10 years, they have done nothing with it. There's no difference between Ikeja distribution now and NEPA of old, or PHN, because your transformer is bad. You are the one who will go and buy it. Your meter, you are the one who will go and buy it. Why? Because these discos don't have the money to do distribution. So we'll take these licenses from them and give it to those who have the money, the technical expertise, the technology and everything, and the pedigree in the power sector to come and do it. That is how we are going to disaggregate, unbundle, and then get power sector running. Mr. Adelabu is just chasing shadows by thinking about a tower in the Northeast. Why is he not giving power to Lagos, where you have Egbin? Is there no power cut in Lagos? Why is he not dealing with it there in Egbin? So this is the issue with power sector in Nigeria. Now, I want to tell Mr. President that so long as he has not taken action on the power sector in Nigeria, Nigeria economy will not grow. because the economy is the lifeblood of an economy. I mean, power is the lifeblood of an economy. So it's like you are looking at my body now. If I don't have sufficient blood in my body, there's absolutely no way I can thrive, no way I can do well. And it's the same thing between power and an economy.
Right. What role do you think that our relationship with our neighbors have, especially as it relates to our economy? We've seen what happened with ECOWAS, the regional bloc, and some other, relationship that we have established outside that particular region. I'm talking about the relationship we've had with France, that had our president elaborately been welcomed by, Emmanuel Macron. How do you think that would affect our relationship with our neighbors going forward?
Well, so in the Committee of Nations, as a nation, Nigeria, we cannot operate in isolation. We need to work with our neighbors, which is in Africa, and the international community, right? Because we need them. They also need us. We are resource rich. They are technology rich, for instance. This technology that you and I are using now to communicate, we didn't develop it, right? It was developed somewhere internationally, and we bought it and things like that. So we cannot operate in isolation. But the point is that we need to have a plan to say, in this our relationship with the international community, whether in Africa or beyond Africa, what is in need for us? What are we actually trying to achieve, right? What do we want? And what are we trying to get from the international community? We have to articulate that. And once we articulate that, then we begin to pursue our agenda, because the relationship with the international community is not only economic, it's also political. So like you can see, you spoke about our neighbors, and you see the likes of Niger, Chad, and all of that, the countries in the Sahel. You look at what is happening in ECOWAS and things like that. These things is going to impact on our relationships with them. But for me, I think that Nigeria should sit back and do the homework, right? So like earlier in the year, the governor of was in Niger State, and some governors were talking about, oh, close the borders, don't export food, don't carry food across the borders. And I said, look, this is an advantage that we are just misusing. Why? Because for most manufacturers or producers of goods and services, one of their biggest challenges is to find a market for their products and services. In Nigeria, we have a ready market for food. So instead of closing borders to ban food going across the border, why don't we sit back and engage in mechanized industrial agriculture so that we can produce as much food as the world needs, and we give it to them so that they give us dollars, you know? So why are we throwing away a market that we can fulfill? And this is where we still have to come back. President Tinubu, since he came into office, topping 19 months now, has the security, which he is the commander-in-chief, removed bandits from any community, and we have celebrated the return of farmers to that community. If answer is no, then how are we expecting to grow more food and give it to our neighbors who need food so that we can make a lot more money? How can we produce food to feed Nigerians? Look at the way Nigerians are dying on at charity events where food was being shared. Never had this kind of situation in Nigeria before. That Nigerians have now become beggars for food in their own country. So if we went to France, we should be telling France, how can we get the machines that your farmers are using in their farms? How can we get the machines, right? We need those machines on our farms. France, how can we get military assistance to drive away bandits from Nigerian soil so that our farmers can have free hand to do the agriculture, and so we grow the economy? This, to me, should be the things that are taking us abroad. It's not just flying plane going and coming, right? We should have an agenda. What's the agenda? Maybe you ask the government, they will tell you better. I'm not in government.
All right. In the immediate, as we head into 2025, a lot will happen. Recently, we've seen NCC looking to increase tariff of telecommunication services. It means that tariffs will go at least over 100%, if not even more. And it also does mean that more monies will be taken out of the common man's pockets. So I'm just wondering how you think this would affect our economic development, and in projecting into 2025 as a common man in Nigeria, how should that common man reacts to the economy as it's, bites hard into 2025?
It's going to get harder because as this government came into power, I'm talking so much about this government because I don't like speaking about past governments. The problems of Nigeria did not start with this government. That is the fact. But the past governments are out of power already. So we need to fix ourselves. We need to be fixated with those who are in power now because they are the ones in the saddle. They are the ones who can do something different, right? So since this government came into power, every policy that they call reforms that they have embarked on has been to take more money from Nigerians, right? So they started with fuel subsidy. They removed it. So petrol rose from less than 200 to over 1,000. They went to electricity and they say, oh, you are on band A now. You will be from 600, from 65 naira to 200 and something. Interest rate is perpetually rising. The dollar rose from 460 to 1,500. And now we're talking about telecoms tariffs. Every of these single policy is gone to impoverish Nigeria, to take more money, but wages have not increased at that rate. So that is why to tell you that in terms of poverty index, every Nigerian, regardless of who you are doing worse off now than you were in May 2023. Now, what can the government do, especially with these tariffs? I'm following up the debate. So one thing that happened in telecoms is that telecoms is like one of the bright spots in Nigeria. Because I was growing up, when NITEL, we had NITEL. I don't know for you in the studio, you may not have experienced NITEL. But NITEL was a nightmare. If NMPCL is a nightmare, NITEL was a bigger nightmare, right? They didn't supply phones to Nigerians. Phones were expensive. They were racketeering of phones. They would take your phone line and give it to your neighbor who will be making calls, and then they will send in bill to you and things like that. And then we now had a privatization. That privatization was largely successful because we sold the licenses to to telecoms operators like the MTN, the Airtel. They were already in the telecom sector. They have invested over $100 billion as we speak to increase Nigeria's telephone lines from 500,000, that 500,000, to over 220 million today. That is why telephone is relatively cheaper today than it was when it was United Days. However, they still have a lot of dollar inputs into importing their machinery, into importing services, and even their personnel and all of that. And the naira has collapsed. The naira has collapsed from 460 to 1,500. So you can see that this debate about tariffs, perhaps it's not really because their costs have increased, but because they are now needing more naira to get a dollar to import an equipment. Yeah. And the government will have to do something, will have to respond to that, right? So the government will either have to allow them to increase tariff to cover up for the exchange rate losses, or government will have to address the exchange rate itself. It's the same thing with wages, right? Because right now, wages have to move from 30,000 to 70,000 to try and ameliorate the dollar effect on our economy. Because we're a high import-dependent economy. But I hope that at the end of the day, the interest of the consumer will be taken at heart. Otherwise, I want to share something with Nigeria that will be very interesting. Elsewhere, like in the United Kingdom, where I'm speaking to you from now, development in technology has meant telecom services have become cheaper and cheaper. Do you know that as of today, our television is on broadband? We are using data to watch all of our television 247. They came and installed the box here. So our television is no longer coming via a dish. The dish we have outside there in the house is now redundant. We're not using the dish to receive to receive TV. We're not using antenna to receive TV. you are watching TV on data, on broadband, every day. So if I switch on now to watch TV, I'm watching it on. So the data has become plentiful and so cheap that we can use it to watch TV all day. That is the kind of technology we need in Nigeria, so that data will become cheaper in Nigeria. Telephone services will become cheaper. But the telecom companies will need dollar to invest in such technology, and they are making their money in naira. So that is the conundrum, and the government has to have to deal with it.
All right, Nick. I want to say a very big thank you for your insights into the discussion regarding Nigeria's economic landscape and the projections for the year 2025. We truly appreciate it. I am sure that when the year kicks off, we would also call you in to kickstart some of the discussions as relates to proper projections for the year 2025. Thank you once again for your time. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you so very much. I'm always available at your disposal, because we have to start talking about these things continuously before we hope for a solution.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. We're headed for a short break. When we return, the morning show continues. Do stay with us.
Recording stopped.
Abriba is a community in Ohafia local government area of Abia State. It is one of the most popular villages or community in Ohafia local government area. Abriba is known to have prominent people that have contributed immensely to the development of the southeast and Nigeria at large. Every year, the people of Abriba travel back home, especially during the festive season, to celebrate the Christmas exercise with their families and loved ones. At the Abriba Park in Aba, Abia State, Jubilee Road to be precise, Signature TV saw lots of Abribarians travel in large numbers to their village, especially as the year 2024 is known to be their big year, where they have lots of cultural and traditional activities taking place. Abriba is also known to have people who love their village so much that wherever they are in the world, they come back every time to their village to celebrate the festive season. It is also a time where people connect with loved ones who they may not have seen after several years. A look at what's happening in Aba, Abia State, where lots of Abribarians were seen traveling to their villages with lots of family members as well, who joined them to celebrate the festive season. Signature TV also caught up with some of the Abribarians who had some words to say to Signature TV.
Abriba people, they are people that anything traditional, they don't play with it. So especially in a occasion like this, that they have occasion, they are like elderly men's imuche, a lot of things. So especially this is their 4 years. Normally they are doing it 2 years, but this is 4 years now. So even any of their brother does not have money to travel, they will sponsor that person. Make sure that everybody gets home and celebrate with them.
A time like this we travel because of the program we have, which is Iguamang, and also this is our Afuku. So a lot of people come back from far and wide to be with family. Although even every Xmas we always travel, but this particular period we travel a lot.
Probably why they travel every time, despite this time, is one. Most of them stay as in Lagos, Cotonou, and other places. They don't come back often. So they like, as in once Xmas, everyone likes to come back home. because it has been long. You see your mom, you visit them, or see us, maybe see your loved ones. You understand? And those in Korea, or maybe they come once in every 4 years. And these are a big year in Africa when you see Uche, Israel, and other things. You understand? So most of them may likely come back to expect that. And most of them marry from there, and maybe they like to come and bring down their husband or their wife down here, so they can express such. And Africa is, if you have money, you don't have money. Once you have the tea fair, you can go to your hometown.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The Michael Okpara Square in Enugu has been living up to its billing as a vibrant entertainment hub in Enugu State in the last few days. The latest in the lineup of events that took place at the arena was the Enugu Road Block and Music Concert. The highly anticipated event organized by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism brought together comedians, artists, musicians, producers, and cultural dancers from various parts of the Southeast. The all-night concert featured an impressive lineup of legendary performers, including Clean the Drunk, Nkoliwan Soka, and Ogochi, among others, who treated the audience to good music, comedy, and culture that showcased their rich talents and creativity.
Yes, Abamante.
The concert, which was earlier kicked off with a series of performances by upcoming artists who set the tone for an exciting night before the crowd was wowed by Clean the Drunk with his hilarious jokes and antics.
You remember that time? Back then, when Hamatan will come, Christmas period, no matter the amount of Vaseline, all of you are born. In oh my God, you see that wound. Odrosi. I don't get I'm going to have it. Never come with the car on your that time is in the morning, no matter what you do. In a teach I think I do the pain no. Those days, it is sound, even in Miyako, by neighbor's room. It's a sound, a lecture. I can just sit there. Oh man, yes, oh man, yes, oh man, yes, oh man. You didn't eat it, go. Even out of the room, yes, yeah, no.
The ENUGU Roadblock Music Concert was not just an entertainment event, but a celebration of the rich culture of the Southeast region. The Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, Ugochi Madueke, expressed delight at the success of the event, which she said achieved the aim of showcasing the culture and tourism potential of Enugu State and the entire Southeast region. The organizers thanked the performers, sponsors, and attendees for their support and participation and promised to make the subsequent events even better in the coming years. Chinemerem Ikebunam, Signature TV News.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos. People...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it through by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The scholarship award started in 2003 with only pupils and students from Aduachi community. The gesture was later extended to the entire Ado and Ehuhe communities that then constituted the Etiti Autonomous Community. The current edition, which is the 24th in the series, saw an undergraduate from the neighboring Omumba community, Gideon Udesike of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, benefiting from the scheme. The initiator and sole sponsor of the program, Vin Martin Obiora Ilo, said he started the program when he was a level 8 officer at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria because of his desire to promote education in the community. He appealed to other well-meaning individuals to initiate similar programs in their various communities as a way of fighting poverty and ignorance in the society.
So two things may have happened. One, that more families are raising people that can help in their individual families, or that the kids are not as enthusiastic as they used to be about going to school. I don't know which one is the problem or the advantage. But like we said last year, we said that gradually we'll start moving this outside our immediate community. So today, we are going to support a student from our neighboring community of ENUGU. I don't know who he is, but I understand he's somewhere in this gathering.
One of the initial beneficiaries of the scheme and graduate of University of Benin, Godswill Chukwemeka, explained how the program assisted him to attain his present position.
By God's grace, my men of primary me from my JSS 1, JSS 2, JSS 3 to my SS 3 and this scholarship. And it has been an impactful thing in my life. Even my member university also one thing to improve now. The scholarship and every year about just the ego, one of the impacts first. That thing, it encouraged me, to be very studious. And I want to thank God because I go my master's at my University of Abuja. Or we will not people take this scholarship very seriously.
A female beneficiary of the program and 300 level undergraduate, Kenechi Ofo, was full of emotion and demonstrated so visibly.
Difficult in Nigeria, and seeing somebody to support you with a sum of 100K is not easy. That's all my school fees in short. So paying school fees this section is not going to be difficult for me. At least I've reduced the stress for my parents. So it was just massive. I was so emotional and I was so grateful. I just want to say a very big thank you to him. And God should pay him back from wherever he got out the money from. I'm just so grateful.
I really thank Martin Ilo for awarding all this scholarship today. I really appreciate his generosity for the children of this community. It really helps a lot, especially those that cannot afford the school fees.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for what happened today. Like, God will bless him more and more in Jesus' name.
It's a very long way for me because we have relieved the stress from my parents, like the school fees. It helped in paying my school fees and getting other things that I was needing in school.
The chairman and the secretary of the Scholarship Award Committee expressed their delight for being appointed to handle the assignment while paying tribute to Vin Martin Ilo for keeping faith with the program over these years.
We sincerely pray that others will emulate him. He is not the richest person in this area, but he continued to do that. He started this work when he was in Radio Nigeria 24 years ago. When things were very difficult, he told me that even if the family is difficult to feed, but he must squeeze out that money. And you see that the Bible said that givers will never lack. Maybe that's why he's not lacking today.
I've seen it as a thing that will give God glory because of the initiator, Honorable Chief Vin Martin Ilo. In fact, he has been doing a good job in this particular scheme. Many people have benefited, both from the nursery, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Today, he has upgraded the tertiary. In fact, every one of them is doing upgrades in all the things he has been doing to them, especially in the high institution. He gave each and every one of them 100,000, 6 of them, 600,000, and those in the primary, secondary, and the tertiary institutions.
It was indeed a celebration as the Ilo family home played host to thousands of people who thronged the palatial Adwachi residence to share in not just the happiness of the beneficiaries of the scholarship award, but the joy of the season with both invited and uninvited dance troupes and masquerades putting up exciting displays.
Yuletide season is usually a period many Nigerians travel to their hometowns to celebrate with their loved ones. But with the high cost of transportation, many citizens say it will be difficult to travel this year. It comes with parties, gatherings, end-of-year functions, and many family events. For most people, Christmas is a period to be with friends and family members who reside in villages across the country, even as some use the opportunity to attend weddings, funerals, and other social functions scheduled to hold in their hometowns and villages. However, this year 2024, several families who spoke with Signature TV in Aba, Abia State said life has become tougher for them as a result of the economic hardship in the country, occasioned by the rising inflation following the removal of subsidy on petrol. They said this year's Yuletide celebration will be low-key, adding that they might not make the usual trips.
Now, here in Mbana Park, there is no increase. It's still the same price as of last year by this time. For now, I say for now, today, they are collecting 3,000 naira. How much passengers to fill up buses? They should reduce the price of fuel. They should reduce the price of fuel. If they reduce it, people can now travel. Because many people got no money to travel. Understand? And this is Christmas period. So a lot of people tend to travel, but for the sake of money or financial disarray, they cannot travel.
A loader, Emeki Ibama, also decried the poor turnout of passengers.
Business is not moving because of what we are into in this country. People are not traveling, and the business is too low, and we don't see passengers anymore. So because of the hard currency and other things, that's why.
So from Aba to Lagos, how much now?
26,000 naira now. So that's why. For me to come out to 5,000 naira to go to Lagos now is not easy. So that's why people are not traveling. That's the thing. So
it's almost the same thing with last year. I'm traveling from Aba to Islam. The situation of Nigeria now, and because of the situation of Nigeria and the cost price, so some people are not traveling because of that. There is no money. So.
For Mr. Nzekoma, who is a bread seller around the park, he decried the low turnout of customers.
It is not at its best because of the situation of the nation. People find it hard to travel, but finally people are still traveling.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
It's been a beautiful day and a beautiful broadcast with you on this very fine Sunday, the 29th of December 2024. I understand that everyone is preparing for the last day of the year because, of course, I understand that Christians around the world would be looking to do their overnight ritual. I've seen several captions for the year 2025. I've seen the year of breakthrough. I've seen the year of catapulting you into the
year
new
of new beginning. Year of so many things.
You know, So
I mean,
don't know
is that time of the year when people start reconstructing their New Year resolutions about how they want to be a different person in the new year. And I always keep saying this thing: if you want to be a new person, you should start now. You don't need to wait for the beginning of the year. If you want to be a new person from September, you start from September. You don't procrastinate till January before you do that, because it just shows how reluctant you are to accepting change. So if you want to change, start from now. Don't wait until the 1st of January before you start implementing the change that you ought to have implemented a while ago.
Right. I mean, that's perfectly said by Quinsley. Procrastination is the stealer of your peace and your joy, in fact. I understand in one of the news bulletins, some persons were writing as one of the things that they're going to overcome in the new year. And they kept saying procrastination is one of the issues that they came across that they couldn't, overcome.
And they're still doing it. For you to say procrastination is a problem and in the new year you will, it shows that you're still procrastinating.
Absolutely.
You're still not implementing the change that you're supposed to. So I feel if you want to do something, do it now. Don't wait till it's the 1st of another year to start it.
Absolutely. I want to appreciate every one of you for joining us on the morning show this new day. We would continue our broadcasts tomorrow. That's Monday, but we're connecting to Abuja for the continuation of the morning show. My name is Charles Pius.
My name is Quinsley Rowland.
A very good morning to you and welcome to New Day here on Signature TV. My name is Godwin Sunday. If you've observed for the last couple of weeks, there's something that's been trending, and that has been young people continually pressing their phones that they call it tapping. Now, for so many, it is called mining. For many, it is tapping. But then what is this all about? They said it is what they call tap swap and what they call hamster masters and the rest of them, from Pi through to ENUGU, from ENUGU to Bitcoin legend to what have you, mining sites. But what is mining all about? What is electronic mining all about? What is expected from mining online? This is what we'll be discussing this morning, as we'll be talking about mining opportunities in Nigeria and how to regulate the digital asset sector of the country. And I'm being joined in this conversation by a financial expert, digital financial expert, in the person of Silas Umekwe, who will be putting the icing to this cake. You're welcome to Signature TV.
Computer to the Bitcoin network, and so long as your computer is connected to the Bitcoin network, The network answer those mathematical puzzles, and any computer that answers that puzzle first, is awarded new Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin is created, right? Every 10 minutes. So that's how Bitcoin is created, right? Every 10 minutes. So this is mining. Right? And this form of mining is what's called proof of work. Right? And this form of mining is what's called proof of work mining. Now, but because of time, or over time rather, we found out that the mathematical puzzles were becoming more difficult. So you needed more powerful machines. And the problem with all these powerful machines is that you are going to need more power. And anything that has to do with more power will generate heat. So not only will you need more power, you need a cooling system. So it was becoming not very profitable, because if you look at all what you would have to invest into setting up a mining rig, it was not looking very profitable. So a lot of other protocols started coming up, proof of stake and all of that. Then we now came to where we are now, which is the mobile mining. So a lot of companies now decided, okay, let us use the power or the capacity of the phone, because a lot of people have smartphones. So it's actually called cloud mining, because what you are doing using your phone is that you are connecting to a server. So once you connect to that server, that network uses your phone's capacity. So if I connect, you connect, we connect, all of us, our phones together now provide a very large mining capacity for you to be able to mine whatever currency it is. Yeah, so a lot of projects started using this. And I think that's what got us to where we are now. Mobile mining is now like the in thing. You find everybody on the street, tapping,
Tap.
Yeah.
All right. So let's look at this issue of digital assets. Has it been able to gain acceptance in Nigeria in general?
You see, I will usually say that cryptocurrency is the future of money. It's not if you would use cryptocurrency, it's when you will use it. But if it's for you using it, it's a sure banker. Right? Everybody would eventually use cryptocurrency. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You see, the Telegram app is as powerful as WhatsApp and more powerful. And it's on everybody's phone. So when you see this mobile mining coming in through Telegram, mini apps and all of that, that's just one of the so many ways it's going to go mainstream. It's one of the so many ways. So for digital assets gaining relevance and going mainstream in Nigeria, I mean, that's a long answered question. We are already mainstream. That's the truth.
We're already mainstream. But then looking at the fact that digital assets is a complex term being used in Nigeria, while people try to understand the conceptualization behind it, from forex through to the blockchain technology, and looking at our educational system, do you think that we've started doing enough in the sensitization of digital assets, as it were?
Okay, so what I think concerning what if we are doing enough, I think the problem we have as a country is implementation. In 2017, I was at a stakeholders meeting for cryptocurrency at the CBN, and we discussed some of all these things. And one of the things I shared with them is how we will go mainstream and how it will be regulated, because you cannot regulate. You can only regulate it as a store of value. That means it's not in the CBN's place to do that, but in the SEC. Now, why am I saying we are having a problem with implementation? Is because if you look at there are so many documents that have come from SEC. A lot of documents have come. There's the document for digital assets from SEC. There's the document from Ministry of Information and Digital Economy or Digital Commerce, something like that. Then there's the CBN. There's a lot of documents backing the whole idea of cryptocurrency and the blockchain. So, but we have an implementation problem, because we have one document giving us all the rights we need, and another document, or rather the people that are supposed to enforce these things are coming. Okay, while I was trying to register my company and we put blockchain, not even cryptocurrency, blockchain as one of the in the memorandum of association, the CSE guys told me that order from above, that Oga say anything that has blockchain inside should not be registered. And I'm asking, so what happens to the document that has the signature of the president? Do you understand? So we have everybody coming from different corners with their own idea of what this thing is about. So if the government has laid down rules, which they have, then we just have a problem of implementing those rules. Everybody comes up every single day to come up with their own idea. So digital assets actually is mainstream. It's mainstream. It's just for us to get to that point where we can follow rule of law, follow the documents that have been presented by the Ministry of Information, follow the document that have been presented by SEC, and all these bodies. They are the ones in charge. They are the custodians of giving us the laws that would govern these things. Yeah, but here we are today. Every exchange is running out of Nigeria because we are trying to milk them instead of to regulate them. Because if you're going to regulate them, the United States charge as high as 40% on taxes made from cryptocurrency capital gains. Imagine what that would do to Nigerian economy if we were actually taxing these things legitimately. So these are the issues.
But what about the issues around emerging fraudsters from the sector? It is believed that the cryptocurrency and the digital asset is one channel that funds cannot be traced, and as such, most fraudulent activity go on within that sector. Could please enlighten us on this?
Okay, Dr. Emefiele, the former CBN governor, do you really know why? Do you know why he actually decided, let's create another naira?
You mean the e-naira?
No, not the e-naira. Let's create another 500, another 1,000.
Denomination?
The pre-printed currency.
All right.
Where we reprinted different nairas. Now we have 200, 500, 1,000. Why did he do that? He was trying to bring back the money. You cannot have a country and 70% of the cash that is produced or that is circulating is not in the bank. It's in some people's houses, right? So how do you think fraud has been going on before cryptocurrency came? Is it cryptocurrency? No. Bitcoin started gaining mainstream adoption in Nigeria sometime around 2016, 2017. Right? So before then, are you trying to tell me that there's been no fraudulent activities? Why did the government have to print 1,000 naira note, 500 naira note, 200 naira note? Because carrying 20 naira note in Ghana must go was becoming heavy. So if you want to steal 1 million, how many 20 nairas will you put in a Ghana must go? So printing higher denominations was for what? So anybody that tells you that cryptocurrency will be used, for fraud the person doesn't understand the transparency in the blockchain. He has no idea.
I think that's the general fear that most even regulatory bodies have when that's to do with regulating the sector. It is believed that a lot of fraudulent activity go on, especially within the dark web space, where a lot of the various dark
yes,
webs.
I know.
So
Yeah.
most transactions go on without kidnappings and other vices. People ask you to pay through digital assets, and there are no credible KYCs That's the know your customer policies that is actually linked to the Nigerian bank. Can this also be a factor why people are scared?
I think the fear is not just for, yes, a couple of bad eggs would use cryptocurrency. But you see here, that's one of the reasons why we are advising the government to adapt regulations that will bring in exchanges and mandate them to do KYCs. Let me give you an instance. A few days ago, in one of the groups I was in, they posted that a young man, his grandmother was kidnapped and they had to pay. And they requested for money in Ethereum. And the guy paid the Ethereum and was trying to track them. Eventually the woman was killed, yeah, which is a very sad story. But a little blockchain forensic I did, I traced that money went to Paxful. And the person was selling it in bits in Paxful. Now, Paxful is a centralized exchange, which means if the government or the court or the police goes to Paxful and tell us, give us the person with this wallet address with a court order, that person will be fished out. That's why we are talking about regulations. Regulations will make this thing not hula baloo. Regulations will make these things very transparent. The blockchain is the most transparent ledger you have in the world. The only difference is that your wallet address doesn't carry your physical name. But now that almost everybody has an account on Binance, everybody has an account on BitGet, everybody has an account on Bybit. And why is that? Because of Telegram. So because of all these Telegram app, a lot of people have accounts on all these centralized exchanges. And what they don't know is that before you open any account with a centralized exchange, you do KYC. So any wallet address you are giving to somebody that is connected to a centralized exchange is tied to you. So if you're talking about transparency, the blockchain has the best transparency we can find when it comes to finance. The problem now will be with the transparency in the blockchain. Would the government be really willing to go that way, knowing that the people that have things in their cupboards are those governments?
But statistics again have shown that there's some form of high rates of fraudulent activities within that sector, especially among the younger versions of Nigeria, young Nigerians in general. You see emerging millionaires all of a sudden, and they tell you they are trading on various forex platform. You already smiling. What did us through this access?
Okay, a lot of people now use, especially working boys. I believe you know what working boys are, boys that do Yahoo. Before now, they've been using PayPal, they've been using all forms of money. Now, this is just one form of money. The way they collect the money is not the crime. Or rather, the means of payment is not the crime. Because when there was no cryptocurrency, they were collecting this money with PayPal. They were collecting this money with MoneyGram. Okay, so somebody stays and tells a woman, you are standing in front of me in Maraba, and you are telling a woman in the US that you are about to pick a bus coming to Washington. And I was looking, like, Washington, what are we washing now?
You're washing the tin.
Exactly. So, and he tells the woman, send me $200. And the woman sends him $200 with Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin the crime? No. The woman wanted her lover to come to Washington when the guy was in Cairo. If the guy had not used Bitcoin, he would have used PayPal. If he had not used PayPal, he could have used Western Union. If he had not used Western Union, he could have used MoneyGram. So you don't blame the tool. You don't blame the tool. How the money was sent is not the issue. On TikTok, some few weeks, we had kidnappers with guns sampling bundles of naira that they made from kidnapping. So we will say we should stop using naira. That no, kidnappers are now collecting too many naira. Let's ban naira. We won't do that. So the problem is not in the mode of payment. That's so But the issue is back to what we are talking about. A lot of people, especially those that are Yahoo boys, because they collect their money in crypto, if you ask them, they'll tell you they're traders. And these are the people that are staining this our whites. You understand? They're the ones that are staining our white. So anybody that says he's a crypto trader now, they will just assume, say, this one a Yahoo boy. But there are still people that actually trade crypto.
Silas, there is a trend where people open websites and applications, get Nigerians to invest their money. The first 100 people get paid, and thereafter
the rest don't get paid.
You can't even log into the site. They keep showing you 406, error 406. So this has become like a trend, even for people that wants to go into the digital space and digital assets environment. Looking at all of this, doesn't this show that in one way or the other, these platforms are being more crime related than even the individuals that are crime oriented?
You know, there's something I used to say. I learned it from my mentor. Knowledge must precede wealth. Should wealth precede knowledge, that wealth is at risk. Knowledge must precede wealth. The mistake we have with Nigerians is that they go in wealth first, not knowledge first. Knowledge must always precede wealth. Now, let me understand this. You see a system. It tells you we are going to pay you 100% in 1 month or 3% per day. You do the math, that's 90% in a month. And you give them your money. Even if they have good intentions, the problem is that that model is not sustainable. So it's not the intention. Most of the time, or some of the times, some people come with actually pure intentions. But this model is not sustainable. That's one. Secondly, I know of people that these guys actually come with ill intentions. They raise 150 million, maybe 5 or 10 people put together, raise 150 million. They float an investment platform. And 150 million will pay a lot of people. And as people are getting paid, they are not waiting for a particular number of persons. They are waiting for a particular number of money in their account. Once it hits 5 billion, they shut down in investment. So as long as you are investing, they are making money. But the thing is, if you would take your time to do some maths, little underground work, you'll be able to find all the cover of this charade. Some years ago, somebody met me and said, I want to invest in this company. Please help me do some research. I would not normally do it, but he's a friend. So I just said, okay, let me do it. And when I did it, I found out a couple of things, and I told him, this is a copycat company, because a company like this exists in the US. And from all what I've seen, there's no affiliation with this guy and this guy. So just be careful. Unfortunately, the guy went on to invest. Yeah? 8 months later, I saw on the news that the company crashed. The company did not crash. The company itself did not crash. It's the guys that created the copycat that crashed. And they didn't even crash. They ran away with your money. Because from the onset, they were not there to provide any value. So if you would take some time to do a little search, you are going to find out that, under all this thing, you can see the skeleton, right? But the truth is, when it comes to online investment, you have to do well. You have to do your underground work. You have to do your search. A lot of people, now, there was something I found out some years ago. You see a company online, an investment company, and people will tell you, like I always tell people, one of the things you should look out for is the team behind it. Who are the guys behind it? So you go to their website and you see they will list some very good guys, put even their Telegram link, their LinkedIn profile link. So You are thinking, oh, this makes sense. But the mistake you are forgetting to make is click one of all those LinkedIn link, go through the person's profile, and you see that he has not mentioned that thing once. Yeah, that company that say that he's their CEO, he has never mentioned them once. He has not commented, he has not made one post here, there's nothing.
So he's not aware that that company
He
exists.
doesn't even know that that company exists. But because people use this picture and his link, you feel that it's legit. Then you go and invest. That was how, there was a time I was, some of my students in crypto, one of them invested in one company. And he didn't tell me when he invested $10,000. Only for me to, I was just playing online and somebody told me, this company. So I did some work, some search, and I told him on this company. So as I went back to class to tell them that that there's one company that is trending now, please you people should try and stay out. That's when somebody was telling me he just invested $10,000 last week. A retiree. The $10,000 went. It's not as if he's still there. The $10,000 went. So these are the issues. If you will take your time to do some small research, not all the companies that do investments online are bad. However, before you part with your money, the problem is Nigerians are looking for zero risk investment. An investment where they will not bear any of the risk, just the returns. If it goes bad, they will come for your head. As long as it's good, chigaba. But you can't find that anywhere in the financial world.
Silas, we know that within the financial sector, a lot of misappropriation of funds has happened even within that sector.
Yes.
Also within the financial sector of digital assets, we have a lot of misappropriation of funds. Anything could have gone wrong. But there's another trend that is even going on right now, where Nigerian youths will also create a platform, and they call it a referral platform.
Okay.
Where they refer people to bring in their money, and they, all of a sudden the site is nowhere to be found. I'm asking, when these sites are created, you are in the cryptocurrency space, we are asking, are there no government regulators? Are there no agencies saddled with responsibility to ensure that before a site or an app gets to the cyberspace, there's some form of affinity,
vetting,
probably, that we can get, so that we can begin to get people arrested when some of this things happen, because this will further boost the trust. Do we have any of such organization within Nigeria?
Okay, so as regards oversight of investment companies online, one thing you need to understand is that this space is fully decentralized. And if you use the example you've given, some people collect money with Naira, some people collect with crypto, some people collect with anything. Now, let's stick to crypto. Now, if somebody creates a site, okay, let me not go there yet. Now, but somebody creates a site and people start engaging. There's actually, anybody could create anything. That's one of the problems of this era we are in. Just the same way anybody can become a motivational speaker. Once you have a TikTok account and 100 people following you, before you know, you will find out that a 12 years, 13 years, 14 years old person is giving content on relationship. And you will see a mature 30 years old somebody sharing the content on status. Do you understand? We are in an era where the number of business coaches are more than businesses. Do you understand? You find out, you go online and you find out that people that are relationship teachers, relationship coaches, are people that don't have any form of any working relationship. You are doing marriage counseling, you are single. It's not as if you have any certificate that will say, okay, it's what you have. You are just using it based on hype. There's some, we know a lot of them. You've fallen out of you have fallen out of a failed marriage. You have not, so you want to teach people that are inside how you should work. So these are these, because we are in a system that is so decentralized. The only thing that will save a lot of people just has to be your own personal research. That's why I keep saying knowledge must precede wealth.
Knowledge must precede wealth, indeed. But let's look at this again. Is mining right now really an opportunity for Nigerians, fairly young Nigerians, to get involved in?
You know, one of the things I'm one person that is very grateful to God that we have mining opportunities. If it were not Telegram mining apps, most of us will not be sleeping in the night. At least our youths have seen something that will distract them. One, something that will earn them a currency aside Naira. Something that will earn them dollars. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your $2, $3 that you got from tapping your phone is 6,000 Naira. I've had some of my staffs make 80,000 from tapping phone. So mining is, yes, an opportunity, right? Now, however, I used to say it's not every mining program or mining app that will yield results. It's not. Now, but you can know the one that will yield, especially if you are not very inclined to these things. There are certain things I don't get involved. There are certain minings I don't get involved in, and there are certain ones I just say, okay, I think this should take this serious. And most of the ones we've taken that serious have done really well. So, answering your question, is mining an opportunity for Nigerian youth to get into? Of course, absolutely.
All right, so we have a lot of high yielding investment platform which we call the IEPEPs. Yeah. So looking at all of these investment platforms, and mining tends to be one of those platforms where it's a high yielding investment platforms. You tap, but then you need to register with maybe Bybit and all of those organizations in order to get your gas fee, to be able to move your money out from either Trust Wallet, your Pancake Swap, your Metavax, your Binance, and what have you. Look at all of this. None of them have strong presence in Nigeria. Can we now say that with all of this, it's a way to go right now for Nigerians in terms of the trust on the digital asset as an industry?
Binance had Binance Nigeria.
It just had Binance Nigeria. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Prior to this time, there was no Binance. Trust Wallet don't have Trust Wallet Nigeria.
Yes. But you know that Binance sent their rep to Nigeria. They arrested them.
I know.
So you are talking about having presence in Nigeria, and the few that did come, you hold them. It's simple now. Listen. For you to have investors come into your space, Nigeria has the market. Trust me. If you pay with any app, or some of all these online not just investment, all these online tools that people subscribe to, Spotify, Audiomack, Netflix, if you pay with Nigerian card and you have another account in another country, then you will understand what you are benefiting in Nigeria. Right? Nigeria has the market. So every sane investment company that wants to go into Africa would most likely come into Nigeria because we have the market. But the question is, why are they not staying? Why can't they put their feet down? Because we have policies that are choking. We have very stringent policies that makes it very difficult for some of these companies to have a physical presence here in Nigeria. But one thing you must never forget is that if you go online on Telegram, Nigerians are working for most of all these companies remotely, addressing most of the issues. Okay, I have a couple of friends that if I have any issues on Binance, I just call them, guy, what's happening? This and this and this and this. It's okay. In a couple of days, it's fixed. Every exchange, we have Nigerians that if anything just goes wrong, one call, they would fix it. But that you will come to their office, no. Ordinary Binance police see on your phone, they call you Yahoo boy. So these are the issues. These are the issues. So there's opportunity in the crypto space, especially with mining. So whether they have a space here or not doesn't mean anything. And the reason is because of the internet, the world is now a global market. That's globalization. The world is a global market. I've done transactions. The first person I did, one of the highest transactions I did with 10 Bitcoin, that was 2016. She's based in the US. We've never seen till today. I want to buy Bitcoin, or she sent the Naira. It took me about 3 or 4 days, and we were able to fulfill the transaction. So the world is a global marketplace. My first book on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin Explained, I wrote it in 2017. I distributed it to 15 countries for free, including US and Canada. So if I was selling it, it's the same thing. I have a book on Amazon now. If you Google the name of the book, I was seeing it on different stores. Now, that's just to tell you that the world is a global marketplace, right? Anybody can buy it. Amazon will send me my money here. So we don't really need Trust Wallet Nigeria, right? Because in the first place, Trust Wallet is a decentralized wallet. You understand? So if you are using any wallets, if you create a wallet using Trust Wallet and Trust Wallet goes down tomorrow, just carry your recovery phrase and impute in any wallet and it comes back up. So it's fully decentralized. So you don't really need a physical presence, as it were. However, like you said, the physical presence gives it that legitimacy, in quotes, especially for Nigerians. But come to think of it, if you see some of all these companies that Nigerians are quick to jump into conclusions. So you encounter a problem that if you're creating an app, for instance, they tell you, do you agree? Nobody reads terms and conditions. So you click agree because you cannot read, just swipe, click agree. Now, when a problem comes in that is based on that agree that you agreed, that you refuse to agree now, you will now carry yourself to the company's office and go and be breaking glass, carrying TV. You have seen it happen. So even you, if you are an investor, you know that the kind of these our Nigerian people, if you put your office, it's better you just be doing the thing, let everybody just be working remotely. That's just it.
Silas, thank you for that good word. In terms of this recent development of tapping, everybody keep tapping.
Yeah.
Everywhere, even on the road, you see a young boy tapping. A child can literally tell you, Daddy, are you tapping? You press your phone now, instead of people to tell you what are you doing, say, are you tapping? So people even know how to use their 4 hands now to do like this.
Well, they use 10.
You use 2 hands. I was even saying 4 hands. That means you've even gone advanced. We are still before.
We use 10 fingers.
Okay.
To tap.
But then looking at this tapping,
yes,
it's amazing and it's fun to do. But does this have any psychological effects on Nigerians?
You see, the thing is too much of everything is bad.
Including too much of tapping?
Too much everything, including tapping. Okay, I think it was recently in Gombe or Borno, one of the medical centers, they released a memo telling staffs they don't want anybody tapping during work hours. That's how bad it is. I went to a hospital somewhere in Abuja, a general hospital, and I entered the lab to give them a sample. And I met the lab guy tapping. And it was and I looked at him and I smiled because, yes, I know that's my business. I do crypto, right? So, but I would think You can tap this thing at a later time, at your leisure. It's not a job. Tapping is not a job. And that's one of the reasons. You see, most times when Nigerians flood into something, we just abuse it. We abuse the hell out of it. And that's why a lot of people are complaining now about the most recent release,
of Hamster Combat,
their CEO.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people engage in it massively. You're walking on the road, you see a bookie that is selling something, is tapping. You go to dry clean your clothes, you see the dry cleaner using one hand tapping, using one hand ironing. Literally, your barbers are tapping. In church, people are tapping. Instead of to tap into the Holy Spirit, now you are tapping into the combat. Right? So, but one thing a lot of people forget is that okay, so before I get there, before this hamster matter came up, I saw on some people's status that with 500 million hamster, with 1 billion hamster, I mean, just imagine that one hamster get to 10 cents, imagine one hamster get to 200 cents, imagine one hamster get to $1, you are made for life, you are made for this thing, you are made for this thing. And I sat down and I said, the reason why people are this ignorant is because they don't understand the concept of cryptocurrency in the first place. In cryptocurrency, there's something called market capitalization. Market capitalization is the value of one of that coin multiplied by the total number of that coin. Now, Hamster has 100 billion tokens. That's after they have done all the reduction of all those 200 billion in people's phone, 400 billion in people's phone. So they had a market cap, a total supply of 100 billion tokens. Now, out of these 100 billion tokens, I think they gave tappers like 1% or a very slow percentage. So let's say they shared 1 billion or thereabouts. Now, what does market capitalization mean? Market capitalization means that the value of one hamster token multiplied by the total number of tokens that they have will now be the market capitalization of Hamster. Now, the entire crypto space is somewhere around 2 trillion market capitalization. And we have over 2 million different cryptocurrencies. Now, you expect that a coin would come from nowhere and take for your hamster to be worth $1, it means with 100 billion as the total supply, it means he has to have $100 billion invested in it. And what are the chances? $100 billion is about 2% or 0.5% of the total supply. What am I saying? They're almost 10% now.
10%.
Or 5%. So that means a coin will come out from nowhere and take 5% of the entire cryptocurrency market capitalization. Where is Bitcoin? Where will you keep Ethereum? So the chances of Hamster ever getting to $1 is almost impossible. Yes.
But we have dogs that are also played out.
Yeah, dogs played out well.
Dog played out, then TapSwap also.
No, TapSwap will not do anything.
No, TapSwap almost even Hotcoin.
You see, TapSwap will not do anything.
But Hotcoin and dogs and the rest of them.
Now, what you should look at in all those things is the difficulty. One, the quantity they are giving. Hot is giving you about 0 point something, 0 point something, 0 point something. But Hamster is making you live in a fool's paradise. 800 billion, 800 million, 400 million. And instead of you to understand that that thing is just point, there will still be a dividing factor. Before you will now get the coin, then they will now give you the value of the coin. So what a lot of people don't know is, we've been doing airdrops for a very long time. For a very long time. I've made over $6,000 from one airdrop before. Airdrop will go bless you, no go stress you. Airdrop will go bless you, no go stress you.
It's like you're dropping from the heaven.
See, you will just wake up one day. That's the same thing that happened with Bitcoin Pizza. There was an airdrop I got 2 months or 3 months ago. Pizza. Just simple. If you have interacted with this particular platform, go and claim your pizza. I claimed the pizza, 100 pizza. A couple of days, they listed pizza $6, $600. You that have been tapping, you have tap, you have broken your phone screen, you have broken the calibrator, you have not made $100. Airdrop that will bless you will not stress you. Every day you are looking for code. But if you don't have any other thing to do and you have phone and internet, please engage.
But then, speaking of this, the hamster comeback,
yes.
All of a sudden, the money in the account started going low.
It will go low now.
Even despite the fact that people have converted the money on Binance to USDT.
That's why it's going low. That conversion is why it's going low now.
Can you explain?
Okay, now. So, Hamster gives everybody token worth 100 million, for instance. So everybody is holding Hamster worth 100 million. Now, but if you want to spend your Hamster, you cannot convert, you will not use the Hamster and go to market and say, okay, you go to Pape Market and give them Hamster. No. So if you want to convert your Hamster, you will have to sell it. Now, one thing you need to understand is that the market works with demand and supply. When a lot of people are selling, the value is going to come down. The value is going to come down. When there is supply, when there is increased demand, price goes up. When there is increased supply, price comes down. That's what happened. Hamster listed at 1 cent, 0.01. Presently, they are trading at about 0.006. They've not even gone so far. It's just like 40% down. They will still go down more. It's a joke. These are the forces.
I hope Hamster Master holders, Hamster Comeback holders are not listening to you right now.
Let me tell you something. Even if it's you now, you have Hamster, and yesterday you opened your wallet, you were seeing 10,000 or 15,000. Then you open today and you see 10,000. The first thing that will come to make I say before you go down and finish. That's the natural man. And these are the two factors that drive the financial market generally. Cryptocurrency, forex, everything, fear and greed.
So let's look at even Santucci.
Okay.
It has been there for a while. But then the unpredictability of Santucci has also become very challenging, especially within the cryptocurrency space and the digital assets corridor. Do you think at this point that some of those coins have come to really elevate people, or they've come to further impoverish? Use Nigeria as a case study.
Okay, now one of the reasons why I encourage people to engage in Telegram mining is because you're not spending any money from your pocket, right? You pick your phone, you tap. Whether you tap or not, you will buy data. If you want to survive in this country, just have data. If you have data, even if you are hungry, if you use laugh, sleep. If you have data. So most times, if you have that data, it becomes easy for you to, okay, I have data. Instead of TikToking, let me tap. Instead of doing Instagram, let me tap. And at least it's a better way of using your phone, since you cannot use your phone and read. Just tap. At least the better way, right? But another thing that one of the reasons why I'm actually very grateful to God for this Telegram tapping is because it has introduced the masses into cryptocurrency without stress.